Many men wish death upon me.
Hamburger, 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 hamburger.
Yeah, we're not doing this.
This is a warning to all living mortals. That who shall ever open this chest of demons will release 13 of the most terrifying ghosts upon the face of the earth. Okay, cut it. This isn't going to work. Let's try some nostalgia bait.
It's mighty strange. You looking at the lazy rain. I can't settle it in bed. Or have you been to your target yet? It's in bed. Got your dog bite. It's in bed.
Okay, that was better. But let's try something a bit more cinematic.
You about to witness hip-hop in its most purest, most rawest form, flow, or most flawless, most hardest, most honest, known artist. Chip off the old block, but old Doc is back. Looks like Batman brought his own Robin. Oh God, Saddam's got his own Laden. Off the hinges, oranges, peach, pears, plums, oranges. Yeah, here I come, my inches away from you, there fear none. Hip-hop is in a state of 911, so let's get down to business. I don't got no time to play around, what is this? Must be a circus in town, let's shut the shit down on these clowns. Can I get a witness? Hell, let's get down to business. I don't got no time to play around, what is this? Must be a circus in town, let's shut the shit down on these clowns. Can I get a witness?
Yeah, that's the shit I like. Let's start the Barroom podcast. Take it away, Jacob.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Hopefully you live somewhere that's not on fire right now, because we are here tonight. This is episode 152 of the Barroom Podcast, and I got a hot crowd here joining us here tonight, and a hot group of individuals, because tonight we're going hard in the paint. We're going scorched earth here tonight. Some of you might not survive. Some of you might not make it out of tonight's show. It's going to be hot. It's going to be super fire, absolutely scorching something hot tonight. Are you guys ready? Are you guys ready?
Yes, I am ready to hot. I'm ready to hot.
Yeah,
absolutely. My skirt's completely on fire. It's almost like I have a rash down there.
Is it a grass skirt? Because you kind of look Hawaiian.
Yes.
He basically just called you Samoan. You gonna take that?
Yeah,
I'm half Samoan. I'm in San Francisco. I'm half Samoan already. It's like with the system.
like honorable Samoan, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. You guys are really ready for tonight's show.
People gonna bleed. It's gonna get cut open, and somebody might die.
Wow. Someone's gonna get cut.
Mortal Kombat, huh? With a K. All right.
You might see blood. So there you go.
You might just see actual death. Who knows? Let's introduce everyone here tonight. Our good buddy Eddie Brock's joining us. How you doing, Eddie?
Everyone's burning alive over here. It's great. I love it. It's fantastic. And
everything is gay and on fire.
Right. I mean, happy Pride Month.
You know, when San Francisco's on fire, it's literally Sodom and Gomorrah. I just throw that out there.
Yeah, of course. It's okay, though. We have ice, so it's cool now.
Ice baby. Rob, how's it going tonight, Rob?
Pretty good. I actually really liked Ballerina last week, which I was not I mean, I was hoping it was going to be like just be watchable. It was a pretty good time. I mean, there's like a flamethrower fight. There's like hatchets being thrown. I mean, it was a pretty good like 2 hours at the theater. So I was pretty happy with that. And as odd as it is, it's my best movie of the year so far. So
which isn't saying much, but to be fair, it's a decent movie.
It's
decent, no?
That's where we're at. That's what's passing for. Hey, I got excited because this movie wasn't a complete dumpster fire.
Yeah, I'm trying to think like what even is coming out this week that will be remotely interesting, and I think the only thing available is that Dakota Johnson movie, which we'll talk about later on in the show. But then again, it was written and directed by a woman, so
and she did the Cuck the movie. Celine Song did Past Lives. If you've seen this movie, you know exactly what I mean. It's like this woman is married, like I think she's married to this dude, and she wants to go back and revisit like with her first boyfriend with the permission of her husband. And it's like, I'm sorry, my head's exploding right now. Like if I tried to do this with my ex-girlfriend after she was married, like even if she was my best friend, it would be like, dude, do you want to get your fucking ass kicked? Like, what are you doing?
Okay. Well, let's introduce Cider here, because now I need to go on a tangent about a movie I just saw recently. Cider, how you doing tonight?
I'm alive.
Okay, that's good enough. Look, so who here has seen the movie The Voyagers with Sydney Sweeney and that absolute, just curmudgeon of a human being, Justice Smith? Has anyone seen this movie yet?
What
came out like 3 years ago. The Voyagers.
The Voyeurs, you mean?
The Voyagers. Is that what it's called? The Voyagers?
Yeah, the Amazon Prime movie. Yeah, no, I never saw it, but I know of it. Yeah.
Oh no,
Sydney Sweeney was in a Voyage movie. Like, I already hate this.
In my mind, I'm thinking
20,000 Hoes Under the Sea.
I'm thinking about the movie with
The
Johnny
Voyage of
Depp's daughter.
10,000 Degrees.
Passengers.
No. That was what was it?
Jennifer Lawrence. She was the first one to ever do a romance in space.
There was a movie called, I think it was called Voyagers with what's the name of Johnny Depp's daughter? Because she was in the movie.
Oh, Lily Rose Depp.
Yeah, the one who tries to be an actress. I'm talking about a completely different. So there was a movie with Justice Smith and Sydney Sweeney. Now here's the setup for this movie, because first of all, in order to buy anything about this film, you have to believe that Justice Smith is heterosexual, which is not. No one's buying that for 1 second. Putting that aside, the whole premise of this movie is like an exotic Rear Window movie where basically they're in New York or something like that, and it's one of those like apartment complexes where apparently nobody has like shades or blinds, so you just basically see everything that's going on from like right across like the person's apartment and whatnot. And there's this dude who's basically sleeping with all of these women and cheating on his girlfriend. So Sydney Sweeney's character is an habitual dumbass in this movie. She decides she falls.
She's the Lana Turner of the movie.
Because she's dating a cuck, and that's basically what he is. Of course,
you
in this
don't
movie.
say.
Shocker. She starts falling in love with the really disgusting guy with the six-pack abs who's across the street cheating on his girlfriend. So she starts getting trying to live vicariously through him. Like one day having sex, like she wants to have sex too, and it was this weird thing. And then the next thing you know, she starts becoming friends with the person that he was cheating on, and then it leads to this whole situation where she ends up killing herself. Not Sydney Sweeney, the other girl ends up killing herself. Her boyfriend. Her boyfriend comes home early one day after they had broken up, quote unquote, to see her having sex with the guy she always wanted to have sex with in the first place. So then he kills himself. So then she feels really bad about it. Then the random minor character has to come in and try to explain to Sydney Sweeney that the events that happened are not her fault, even though they're solely and 100% her fault throughout the entire course of the movie. But of course, hey, we can't have women being accountable for their actions or anything like that. That's problematic.
What on God's green earth is this a fever dream? Did Gary Busey write this while taking a horrendous shit? What happened?
Not done. So then it comes to find out that the guy who she had sex with, who she was basically spying on the whole time, that him and his girlfriend were in on it the whole time. They were actually spying on Sydney Sweeney's character and basically documented the whole thing leading up to the suicide of her boyfriend, which ended up actually being a murder. So then Sydney Sweeney turns into like Batman for some weird reason and basically traps and poisons both of them and then literally physically blinds them to death at the very end of the movie. So now they're basically in the same apartment they
blinds them to death.
This movie isn't called Hot and Bothered, is it?
Did they mistake, like, is they think a jugular's up here?
So no, here's what she did. She drugged them, made them, incapacitated them, took them to some kind of machine at like one of those eye doctor places that literally like nuked their pupils to the point where they're completely blind, and she just let them live in their apartment completely blind where they can't see anything now. So now they're all old and miserable and unhappy because they're super hot and super sexy but they can't see anything, and that's apparently a fate worse than death now.
Because the movie's called The Voyeurs, so they can't even watch people anymore.
Wow.
You get the tragic irony there, guys. It's
fucking
terrible. Jesus Christ. Ugh.
I'm just thinking to myself, this is the stupidest thing that I've seen in quite some time. And of course, it's another check on mark on our boy Justice Smith. And I gotta be completely honest with you, in this particular instance, he was not the worst thing about this movie, but he was still in it. So I'm working against him anyway.
So you know, Jacob, about Darman because you watch Soup, okay? I demand that we do Darman episode reviews on some platform that's not going to get us new for doing that, because I argue that the AI that helped the Poetry Girl episode of Darman was 100% better. This was like a Rotten Tomatoes 99 compared to what you just told me Sydney Sweeney did in the movie that cost much more money to make.
Mm-hmm. I mean, and this is a movie that's on Netflix that you guys can see on your own dime.
This is a video that's on YouTube that you can watch for free.
But give it up to Sydney Sweeney. At least she avenged her cuck husband's death. You know.
Yeah, the one she didn't really love to begin with until he died. The only reason she felt any remorse for him was when it was like, oh no, is this my fault?
Right. Give it up for your meal ticket, for God's sake.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Like, this whole movie, I'm just thinking to myself, this is just modern women in 2021 in a nutshell. And then, of course, you have the other roommates who are sociopaths, and then they're supposed to be the villains of this whole story. So that everything about this was just a mess. So there's my review of that film. Yeah. So, outside of that, how else you guys doing? I forgot there's people in the chat listening to this. We here on YouTube, Rumble, and on X here tonight. So let's go ahead and introduce everyone. Neo Zoic here saying Super Barroom Crew and Super Chat folks in the chat. It's the first question here tonight is that 2 out of the 4 superhero movies would you rather watch? Dark Knight, Spider-Man 2, Captain America Winter Soldier, or X-Men 2? Out of these options here, I would probably go with Spider-Man 2, and I would lean towards The Dark Knight over Winter Soldier. Not by much, but yeah, just enough. Those would be my 2. Rob, what would you pick?
Boy, these questions. The Dark Knight and Spider-Man 2, I guess. I don't know. It's fine. Like, I'm never gonna watch Captain America: The Winter Soldier again. I probably will watch X-Men 2 again, just because it came out when I was 14, and I'm like, oh yeah, it wasn't good. We thought it was good. It wasn't. But Brian Cox is, he's a memorable villain in that one. He's William Stryker, so why not?
Cider, what do you pick?
A lot of people give Spider-Man 2 a lot of crap because it's kind of just there, sandwiched between some pretty interesting decisions. But Spider-Man 2 raises a very good question about Peter Parker. Is he ever going to get laid? And I really think that was kind of the crux of that movie, is who is Peter Parker going to eventually lose his 25-year-old virginity to? And that's a very important piece of dialogue. Is it going to be Gwen Stacy before she's dead? Or is it going to be MJ before J. Jonah Jameson's son somehow launches her in space? That movie was all over the place. Like, this is my son. He's an astronaut. Way better than Peter Parker. Like, what the fuck is going on here?
That's the Amazing Spider-Man 2, right?
No, it's Spider-Man 2, 2004. J. Jonah Jameson's son has cucked Spider-Man.
right.
He's
I'm
taking
so
Peter
sorry.
away.
Yeah.
You're right.
Yeah.
You're right. I completely forgot about that because MJ seems to just completely forget about him. And at the end, oh yeah, you saved my life. And I'm Spider-Man. Oh, who was I married, engaged to?
Yeah, who's this weird guy? I'm taking off his ring and losing it to the portable son that the weird doctor became for a minute there.
Right.
Such a weird movie.
This is basically Spider-Man 2 in a nutshell.
I'm Mr. Burnett. I'm Reggie.
What you doing here?
Came to take out Megan.
What?
I came to take out Megan.
How old are you?
I'm 15, Mr. Burnett.
Motherfucker, you look 30.
Yeah. You know, it was the Spider-Man 3 one was when they were all broke up, remember? Because she was like, you saved my life and that was really nice, Pete, but I want to be an actress and you're not around for that. Even though I know you're Spider-Man, but fuck you.
You're not here for my needs right now.
It's so bad. Like, I just, Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man. You think Tom Holland has it bad. Golly. The only man in New York that couldn't get laid in the early 2000s.
But for his credit, though, remember that sequence where they're playing Raindrops Keep Falling on My Head and he's just having the time of his life? Not even thinking about girls, not even thinking about sex, not even thinking about he's just having a great time walking around New York City, being the Peter Parker with all of love. Yeah,
Eating a
crimes
vegan
happen.
hot dog. Yes.
They even gave him his sitcom pause at the end of it. It was fantastic. I pick Spider-Man 2.
Yeah, see?
Just for that.
See?
So
I know what's good.
Universal Spider-Man 2 here, right?
Okay. I just want to state for the record, I actually like Spider-Man 2. Like, I like the arc of Peter's character and even the little monologue Aunt May gives. I actually like it. It actually moves me every time I see it because it's like it is true. It's like people line up for hours to see heroes and what they mean to them, and it's like, you know, if you don't get laid, it's not the end of the world. Everybody gets laid, Peter. You get to save the world. Like, no, not everybody gets to do that. You know, and I know that that's a simplistic reading of it, but really, that's kind of what she's saying. It's like, look, yeah, it sucks that the love of your life is not, you know, it didn't work out or whatever, but you're fucking Spider-Man. Like, people love you.
It's New York City. Just pick a pussy, Spider-Man. Just pick one.
That was the problem with
Preferably not one.
Spider-Man 3.
And there's a lot of beautiful women, by the way. New York City, just saying. I'm just going to throw that out.
Preferably
He's
not
walking
one
around
from Harlem.
He totally accepted the fact that, you know, all the women in New York City are completely rotted out. So he's like, hell with this. I'm just going to become emo. Fuck it. Woo!
Yeah, it's the weirdest trajectory, but man, like if you look at the subtext of that movie, there is an entirely different story happening.
I'm sure. Yes, I'm sure.
It's a
What are we
bonus
looking at
question. Yeah, bonus question here was favorite superhero team, and I'm just gonna pick Digimon because I'm Dick. So
Are they on the list?
no.
Oh.
Yeah, how about the Watchmen? Can I do that?
Yeah.
You
Let's
do
go with
it.
that. Let's do that.
Nobody obeys the rules around here. These are examples. Okay, these are the examples. This wasn't like a demanded one.
I
I'm
am
sorry.
the rules.
I gotta go with the Power Rangers. I think whatever team you'd like, I gotta go with the Power Rangers. Just average people doing their thing. Gotta love it.
I'm pretty sure the Legion of Doom were in a comic book at one point in time, so I'm picking them.
Okay.
Picking Road Warrior Hawk.
Awesome.
All right, who else do we got here?
The Wrestling Legion of Doom, not the one with the Joker.
I was gonna say they were the
No,
super
the
friends,
cool one, not the gay one.
Yeah.
There we go.
The cocaine fueled one, not the.
Yeah.
You know, if there was ever like a gay bar design, right? The Legion of Doom from the Super Friends cartoon. You know, I know it's a little on the nose, but
No, my Legion of Doom comes out in spiked football pads, a motorcycle, and Rocco standing on the back of the bike. That's what I want.
Yeah, what a rush.
LA is on fire. This time, Preparation H will not help them.
Oof. Owie, owie, ow.
There's a lot of flaming people in Los Angeles. Now it's on fire. So there you go. Vanya is here. Neozoic's here. Keith is here as well. Doba Fett's listening to the show. What else? We got Top Dog who's here. Is ready. Jared Leto. I mean, basically, it's the same allegations we've known for several years, and now people are pretending like they just found out about it for the first time.
was he batshit crazy, or did he like do something to somebody? Again?
No, you know the Jared
Another
Leto
Joker
underage
movie.
girls. That
Oh,
whole
yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
Or it was Colin Farrell, not very good. Was he in that movie? He might have been in that movie too.
Was he the cuck?
Oh, that's another one we should tear apart. That Passengers movie. Should figure out how to watch that and tear it apart.
I haven't seen
My
it
God,
yet,
that's
so.
weird.
But yeah.
Oh, it is spectacularly dumb.
Yeah, I figured.
I'm pretty sure The Hub has better writing than the movie I just watched, Leslie. That was just believe that was not good. And I got a lot of other bad movies to catch up on in 2025, so that was not off to a good start. Dark Knight and Winter Soldier for Dope Fett.
I saw The Dark Knight 5 times with my first fiance.
Was that the reason why you broke up?
No, we just loved the movie so much. We just kept going to it. It was like a ritual on the weekends for as long as it was in the theater. Like that was date night, was dinner and Batman.
Yeah. I mean, people...
The occasional shooting.
Whenever something gets super popular, there's always that group of people out there. It's like, oh, it's just overrated. You rated it over too much. But when you really compare that to like all the other superhero movies that have come out since then, it's like it still holds up far.
That's a masterpiece compared to what they tried to do for the Justice League both times.
Yeah. And the Avengers, if we're being honest with ourselves. Peter easily could have gotten laid. I mean, he's Spider-Man, for God's sakes. But yeah, for some reason, they've tried very, very hard.
Look, his Tinder profile.
Brought him cake.
That man's Tinder profile can literally just be Spider-Man. He says, "No, really, I'm Spider-Man." And just a bunch of selfies of him and webbing without the spider shirt on. And that's all he's got to do is pose in the webbing thing.
You could get laid and not even have to take off the mask if you're Spider-Man because you're
exactly.
Spider-Man.
Lead-in line. That's his lead-in line. No, that's his lead-in line. Here you go.
To be so
I'm in your neighborhood and I'm feeling friendly.
And if it's literally a guy like Peter Parker in his underwear, like trying to sneak into the back room of your bedroom, right? The back door of your bedroom. It's not like cops are going to be called or anything like that. He's white.
Yep.
Oh, jeez. Wow.
No one's going to call the cops. He's white.
There's a white man wearing a Spider-Man costume crawling in my window. It's fine. He's white. Remember? It's fine. He just needs to use your bathroom.
Hey, New York.
Yeah, well, Like Stan Lee did put a lot of faith in people that they'd tolerate a guy wearing a mask crawling up the side of their buildings without having shades on them.
I know, he doesn't have a father either, so it's kind of insane.
Well, yeah.
He's always, but I'm glad that the citizens of New York find him non-threatening. It's good.
It's true. It's the funniest thing is there were so many panels over the years of Spider-Man going by windows where girls were in various states of undress or going about their business in various compromising positions. And at no point was there an HR report or sexual menace Spider-Man caught peeping Tom.
Why did JJ go for that angle? He could have ruined Spider-Man from the beginning.
There's low-hanging fruit. Spider-Man spotted outside of a theater girls' sorority talking to redheaded teenager. Right. Is he a predator?
Just a fact.
You got any? He's talking to Peter, and he's like, "You got any pictures of Spider-Man talking to teenagers?"
Damn it, Booker.
Well, let's go ahead and there's no way to ease into the topics that are going to cause the most riffraff here on tonight's show. So we're going to start on a light topic, and then we're just going straight into it. So this is our warm-up to get everyone into everything's got coming up here tonight.
Warm-up for this. Okay, wow.
Let's talk about Roman Reigns possibly leaving WWE sooner rather than later. We'll start here. So there's a story going out there right now that Roman Reigns could very literally be done with WWE in the near future because apparently there is rumblings that TKO wants Roman Reigns to take a significant pay cut with his next contract. Now, his contract with WWE currently expires after next year's WrestleMania. So for those of you guys who didn't catch us a couple weeks ago, WrestleMania is going back to Las Vegas after they made a shit ton of money off of very, very stupid marks. And they had announced that officially this weekend, so it's going back to Vegas.
Now it's time to do it again.
Yeah, right. And Roman is scheduled to be back for that show for next year, and then he is currently off his contract. So here's what the thought process is right now. Roman Reigns just turned 40 years old this year, so he's officially in the big 4-0 territory. he's been the face of WWE for at least the last 10 years, specifically in the last 5 years where he's done the whole Tribal Chief gimmick. He literally had a 4-year title reign, but as of everything that's going on, he's now getting offers from Hollywood. I believe he has a comedy movie coming out soon. There's talks about him being in Street Fighter with Jason Momoa, so it seems like he's making that transition. And to, I guess, ease that transition here, TKO, which is the parent company of WWE right now, wants Roman Reigns to negotiate for less money. He's currently making $15 million a year. So the way that this is calculated is that his base salary for WWE is $5 million a year. So he makes that just off the rip. Then he also has a whole bunch of deals with merchandising, with licensing fees, obviously appearance fees, stuff like that. I believe he makes 30% off of every bit of merchandise he sells for the WWE. He sells a lot of merchandise for WWE, so that comes with a lot of money. So his current salary, based on what he's been doing, is $15 million. Now, he's also on a part-time contract, as he's been over the last couple of years now, which means that he really doesn't work that much. He probably works, if we're being honest, Roman only has roughly about maybe 5 to 7 matches a year at this point in his career. So it's not like he's working 300 days a year like people did 20 years ago. Like, those days are far, far off. He's only going to be working about 5-7 matches a year, and then probably about 15 appearances overall. TKO is like, okay, you're our top guy, but 15 million is a little too high for you. So this was originally from Hugo Sanovich. Now, I know they tried to discredit this report earlier this week, but there's also been reports from people supposedly close to Roman Reigns that had the sentiment, I should say, that if they're asking him to take less money, he's basically going to tell them to go F themselves, because Roman has no obligation to come back and work for WWE for less money than he's getting paid right now. Why would you, right? So, as I said, the financials of the whole situation I kind of leveled through here. That he's making 15 a year with all of his stuff. This is on top of, like I said, pay-per-view matches, video game deals, 2K promotional merchandise, bonuses, international events from Saudi Arabia, which also brings in a whole lot of money. Ticket sales for events that he's the main event in, gets a lot of that share too. So they're like, okay, $15 million, how do we cut this to maybe like 10-ish? And like I said, the word from sources close to Roman is that, hey, look, you're 40 years old, you're getting offers from Hollywood now, you want to work a less physical job moving forward at this point, especially with everything that he's been through. Like I said, basically 2-time leukemia survivor at this point, has, I think, 5-6 kids also as well. It's like, this is not a guy who's looking to work harder for less money by any stretch of the imagination here. So what he said is that, look, his contract is over at the end of next year. Best case scenario, he would like to re-sign for maybe 1, maybe 2 more years and then call it quits after that. But if TKO, the parent company of WWE, is saying, hey, why don't you come work for us for less money than you've been making before, Roman can very easily say, you know what, screw this, I'll take my hand in Hollywood, we had a good run and I'm out of here, which will put WWE in a pretty shitty situation, because as much as Triple H likes to believe that Cody Rhodes is the quarterback one of WWE, Cody Rhodes, who is also 40 years old, need I remind you too, is not the guy who's going to be carrying this company for the next 5 to 10 years. So they're in a position right now where they have to try to figure out what they're going to do moving forward, because all of their top guys are either 40 this year or turning 40 next year, or even well into their 40s at this point. You got guys like Cena, who's already in his last year. He's 48 years old. Punk, I believe, turns 47 this year. You got guys like Sheamus who are in their late 40s, like Damian Priest, LA Knight. There's a lot of age on the top of WWE's card right now, and if you start losing star power, like real star power, like a Roman, like Cena, who's going to be heading out, now the question is going to be asked here is like, what's the financial incentive for anyone on top of WWE? If they can essentially tell Roman Reigns to piss off that they don't want to pay him any money, what do you think Io Sky is going to get paid moving forward? How do you think they're going to negotiate with people like LA Knight or Drew McIntyre? You guys are probably going to get the short end of the stick here, whether you like it or not. Eddie, I want to start this one off with you. Obviously, you're a bit more familiar with the WWE situation. What do you think about the possibility of Roman Reigns within the next 6 to 10 months basically saying adios, goodbye, and good night?
I think it's one of the smartest things he'll ever do. He has all of the cards here. It's very, very rare that a wrestler has all of the cards in a negotiation when it comes to big time business, especially someone like TKO. And I'm really, really proud of Roman. Good job for him. I used to hate Roman because I wasn't keen on him getting pushed, especially with the whole leukemia thing, and we had some guys that could have been pushed over him, especially Brian. But I'm proud of him. He's very, very good for the business, and it's going to be a sad day. I hope he doesn't retire. I hope they actually do give him the money that he wants. I think he'll come back. I don't even think it takes that much for him to come back. I think the $15 million is a pretty good starter, but I'm sure if TKO did 20, Roman would say yes to 1 or 2 more years. Just because he wants to go out on a good note, but he's not going out like a chump, and that's good on him. And as far as TKO goes, they put themselves in this situation by hiring a bunch of guys who are over and are over 40, and now you got a group of young people who really don't know how to get over, trying desperately to hold on to, what these older guys have been doing this whole time. There's some young guys though that are doing pretty good. Chad Gable, for instance. So, good for Roman. I hope he goes into the movies. He's really, really charismatic. I think I guess his name was being tossed around for Akuma. They want to make him Akuma in the Street Fighter movie. So that'll be pretty cool. I think he should say yes to something like that. I think there's a shift in Hollywood for like more Eastern Asian, Samoan, those types of actors coming over and making a splash, and I think that's a really good thing. So good for him. I'm glad for Roman.
Yeah, and, it's very interesting. Like I said, there's talks that he's going to be in the Street Fighter movie with Jason Momoa. They've been trying to do a movie together for years because everyone always says that they look alike, so they've been trying to get them to link up for a film. I guess this is their opportunity to do so. So there seems to be big things like on the horizon here, and like I said, go out while you're on top, right? Because it's like there's no point of, at this point, like I said, 15 minutes is kind of the baseline. I can see him signing for like 1 or 2 more years just to kind of like wrap things up entirely. If they were paying him the same rate, like you probably have a shot paying the same rate. You have no shot trying to pay him less at this point. It's just not going to happen.
No way.
Rob, what's your take on that?
Just one more thing. As an honorary Samoan, I would like to throw my own hat in the ring. And, I would love to be together with Roman and Jason Momoa. We could be the Three Stooges. The Three Samoan Stooges.
I thought that was just going to be his stand-in for WWE.
I could totally do I could totally be a stunt man for both of them. Absolutely.
Rob, what's your take? What's your take on the
smooches?
What's your take on the concept that wrestlers are getting paid $15 million a year?
Yeah, long history of Samoan wrestlers anyway in the business. So, I have really no opinion about Roman Reigns. I stopped watching before he even kind of came into the landscape or the forefront of WWF. So, but I hear good things from people who like wrestling from the years I did. So look, I think that he's a big draw for the business. I think that he has every right to ask for the money that he's looking for. I mean, if it's over for people like Roman Reigns, if it's over for the guys at the top of your industry, that probably doesn't bode well for the rest of your industry. I mean, this is kind of it's a completely different business, but this is kind of what the salary cap has done or free agency did back in the early 90s for the NFL, where it allowed players to negotiate based on their market value. And you should be able to. Now, obviously, it's a little bit different with wrestling because the Shield, in terms of the NFL, is the company. You know what I mean? It's not like there's 32 franchises that you can go to and market yourself to. So, like, I get that, but I don't know. I don't know, like, the business model for TKO. I don't know if this is connected to, like, what they're charging at WrestleMania, but just as a model, it doesn't seem like it's sustainable for very long. So I'll just leave it at that. Seems like it's symptomatic of what's going on in wrestling right now in general.
Yeah, it seems like if you've been paying attention to TKO, like, they're big. It sounds shocking to say this, but when you really dig into it, they're more cutthroat than Vince McMahon in this aspect. Is that they don't care about the emotional aspect of any of these wrestlers when it comes down to it. They're all about the X's and O's. So in their view, if you're overpaid in any metric, they're going to try to cut you down as much as they possibly can. If you can't come to an agreement, then it's like, hey, look, thanks for coming, see you later, goodbye. That's pretty much like where they're at right now. A lot of guys have been released who had high salaries, who they thought were getting paid too much. Essentially, they want WWE to quite literally just become a factory, a farm system over the course of the next few years, where you can just get somewhat notable people. I mean, it is wrestling at the end of the day, but somewhat notable people to work for a reasonable rate, and then essentially when they get to a point where they're too big and you don't want to pay them anymore, we can just dump them because, hey, we got 6 or 7 other people from NXT who are 20 years old who have no problem working for $100,000 a year rather than, the $15 million we could be paying people. So, and this is going to bring in a lot of aspects here. I know R-Truth, that whole situation kind of got resolved this weekend. Essentially, Triple H had cut him because they were looking for people to cut on the roster who had been there for a while. The fans were upset. The wrestlers were upset. Nick Khan then contacted R-Truth to bring him back. Apparently, they're going to give him some kind of a short-term deal so that he can, I guess, end his WWE run on his terms. So, good for him on that aspect. But yeah, if they're going to get rid of guys like R-Truth who have been there forever, if they're going to cut ties with Roman Reigns, at this point, you could look at the roster and be like, yeah, nobody's safe at that point. Because, I mean, if those two guys are, quote-unquote, expendable at this point, then, who is even safe anymore? I know we got Rick is here, but we're not going to acknowledge him yet. Cider, what's your take on wrestling and people making a whole bunch of money? Great.
These things are related, right? Because you asked me 2 separate questions, like people making a lot of. No, that's not what we're talking about. This is the problem I have. Is these guys work with Netflix, and they have their performers. To make it abundantly clear, they're performers. They know what they're doing. They know how the match is supposed to go. They've rehearsed all this, and nobody ends up with a real injury unless a rapper is invited and doesn't know that it's fake, and then he actually injures somebody. But I'm trying to wrap my head around the fact that they don't make a show with Roman Reigns. It's right there with Netflix. Everybody's plugged in. He's an actor. He's a stuntman. He's right there to do his own fucking shit. Just have him be just a regular cop. Just do a basic crime drama. Just do Die Hard, but with Roman Reigns. Why is that so hard? I don't understand what these idiots are trying to accomplish. Do you want to pitch him as a magnate to sell things around, or do you want him to jump off the corner post and break his fucking back one of these days? I don't understand this. It's the most backward marketing strategy for these people. They've worked their way into an institution that quite literally chucks out useless content. Okay? That's its whole business model, is to chuck out useless content and cross your fingers somebody likes it. Okay? So here we go. Roman Reigns. Just do Metal Gear, but with Roman Reigns in Hawaii. It's not even Metal Gear. Just dress him up and have him run around through the forest, kind of sort of shooting people. 2 episodes. It'll be great. Everybody will talk about it till the next episode of WWE, and it'll pick up the ratings. But
Roman PI.
Roman AI. Perfect. Spell Roman's name with AI in the middle. ROMAIN. Romaine.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the funny part is you mentioned it too with the streaming. Braun Strowman was one of the guys who they had fired and got rid of. And then, a week after they fired him, they announced that Strowman was involved with, some project on, I want to say it's on Discovery Plus, that he's going to be starring on a streaming show, literally this fall. So it's they fired the guy and then announced a television product that was basically on the fact that he was a quote-unquote WWE wrestler before the show even came out. So clearly, as far as that aspect goes, they don't even care about that either.
So
this is where TKO completely drops the ball, and this is where Vince McMahon needs to be, because Vince would have done that. Vince would have created. I'm working with Netflix. I have a WWE Films.
Do you remember that stupid movie that Hulk Hogan was in? Let's just do that again, but with Roman Reigns.
Remember Sino Evil with Kane?
Suburban Commando, was that what it was?
No. See No Evil actually has its... And
See No Evil is Kane.
Yes, but I just want to state for the record, that movie has a very weird following in the horror community.
It does, yes.
Right. But see, Vince understood that, I have actors in my wrestlers, so I need them to do things also. That's why John Cena has the Marine. It's not that John Cena is a good actor. It's just that John Cena needs to be in a movie.
These guys.
Austin was in one of those movies. I don't think he was starring in it, but he played a bad guy, and I completely forget what it was. But it's just every once in a while you'll see that, and I'm like, okay. Even being a wrestling fan, I was like, this is shit.
Once
that
a
led
week,
to him being in the Expendables.
There you go.
once a week, these guys, any one of them, they need to be streaming themselves, fucking with the other guy, like they used to do with the backstage during the Attitude Era, like you showed us all the time, Jacob, with these clips about the motorcycle and the truck and stuff. And they just live stream themselves doing IRL pranks on one another that always go wrong. That's the gimmick, is that they're always going too far with the pranks. Like, I blew up your motorcycle, Triple H. Can I be on the show now? You know, can I have the center ring now? I blew up your motorcycle. Am I cool now? You know, and they're always like over pranking it and stuff like that. Like, just feed into this TikTok phenomenon with these idiots. They'll eat it up. But no, they're literally working with a production studio and they can't figure out how to produce things.
Yeah, they're not bright. They're not very bright. Well, here's the thing that they've been doing here too. Before I played this clip, and I think I talked about it a little bit like last week or the week before. So as you know, WWE has a new sponsorship with Slim Jim, where Slim Jim is going to put their logo on the tables that are used during WWE matches. So and they literally brought one out this weekend on Friday, and it was a women's match, which is even dumber. But the table, you bring it out, it has two giant Slim Jim logos on there. So when someone goes through the table, it's like, oh, and that person snapped into the table. It's like that's literally what they're doing. Unironically, that's exactly what they're doing on the show now. And then now, over the weekend, they had like a Money in the Bank show, so they had ladders, and they're put, the Fireball, the alcohol drink, they put Fireball logo and advertisement on the ladders for it as well. And then not only that, they also replaced the turnbuckles that used to just have the WWE logo. Now it has 7-Eleven logos on there now, not just WWE. So they're selling everything they possibly can. Like, people have made jokes about it. You're going to see wrestlers wrestling in like full, like it's going to look like the early days of like the UFC. Like wrestlers are going to have just like logos up and down their body
NASCAR
when they go out there.
NASCAR drivers, yeah.
See, that's the funniest thing, is that like at no point did anybody think that there was going to be like a bit of surrealism involved with this. That it was just going to like pile into this problem with like everybody buying like they've sponsored the microphones, they've sponsored the metal chairs that are being it's the Hot Pocket metal chair dive off the center corner pocket. This concussion brought to you by Hot Pocket. This is the problem.
We've been there. Like, we talked about this with, me and Jacob and whoever else watched wrestling growing up. We know all this stuff with the Stridex and the Stacker 2 and the Corn Nuts, but those were like commercials or so-and-so brought to you by, Royal Rumble brought to you by Corn Nuts.
They were financing the show.
Sweet, out of the way. This is like Idiocracy level, where it's like, oh, we're so devoid of genuine creativity or product that people want that we need money and we got to just inject it full of corporate sponsors and, by doing so, make what we do soulless and irrelevant. So
now,
it's sad, honestly.
Here we go, okay? The wrestlers have to wrestle each other and a monster truck.
Cider. They did that in WC.
They did that already, yeah.
What?
The gimmick, the gimmicks.
Hulk Hogan versus
like
Hulk
the
Hogan versus the Giant.
RoboCop coming out, and like there's so many things in WCW's history that's just like, why were you allowed to exist? Oh yeah, Ted Turner, I forgot.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, it was Hulk Hogan versus the Giants on the top of Cobo Hall in Detroit.
Like how badass would it be, right? That you have this who's playing the Witcher guy now? Who's playing Geralt in the Witcher now? The other chap, the other Australian boy, right?
Henry Cavill?
No, Australian. That's not Australian. Henry Cavill, the Australian.
Yeah, he's English.
This Chris Hemsworth little brother is playing the Witcher guy. That would be funny. Yeah. Liam, yeah, they have like Liam come out, and he's like the Witcher guy, but he's like a wrestler at the same time. And it's like cross promotion. People who are watching the Witcher now have a meme of Geralt pile driving somebody in the ring somewhere. But no, they won't do that. They're like, well, we can't let the peas touch the potatoes. That's insane.
I think honestly, eventually it's going to be that the guys are going to have to come out wearing like green screen outfits. Just so, like, you get like the 3D glasses and everything, you can impose your own people your own models into the thing and have them wrestle while they're going at.
This is real. I did not This
So
is
sad.
amazing, Jake.
Yeah, by the way, this photo is a real photo. It was Hulk
Yeah.
Hogan and the Giant did a monster truck duel on the top of a
Right.
bridge, and then
That's
the whole
amazing.
thing ended with Hogan knocking the Giant off of the bridge and killing him, only for him to
Right.
return to war like 2 weeks later, like nothing happened. He was
No,
fine.
it was later on that. It was later on that night. It was
same
literally
night.
30, 40 minutes, 45 minutes later. He showed up and he had like a bandage around his head, and that showed he was
50-foot
dead.
fall.
Oh my god, dude. This is so good. This is so amazing.
Power
Hogan
Rangers
still-
logic. The
Hogan
giant
still
robot
won the-
explodes. and
Hogan
they
still
just
had
die.
the Hulk.
A wrestling
Hulk-
match
Hulk-
inside of monster trucks, and someone got knocked off a bridge, and then he returned to the event with a bandage on his
The
head.
same night.
Yes.
The same night.
Hey, Hogan still had the Hulk up at the end. He was almost beaten.
It's like literally he died at like the 9 o'clock hour, and then like by 11 he comes back.
Exactly.
By the power of ratings, I have returned. See, that's what they need. They need a Slim Jim character to come out when that happens with the big giant Slim Jims that are the size of lightsabers and just paddle that guy on the ass with them and then like dance off back into the crowd. No context.
Last piece of this story here. This is what Roman Reigns said literally 2 months ago about being kind of the future metric of the WWE. We'll see how long this lasts.
It is. I mean, there's nothing that I'll ever do that'll take me out of that position. I'll always be. I was born in this business. I'll always be a part of this business, similar to Dwayne. But I think I'm at a point in my career where I just got to make all the right choices. You know how it is. You got to look at what the opportunities are. You got to look at how you feel, where you're at personally. What
you have an
does
eraser
all
head?
my hats look like? You know, I'm not just a wrestler. I'm not just an entertainer. I'm a husband and a father as well. I have young children, so there's so many different things to analyze and so many different things to take into account. So I just do it year by year, 2 years at a time, whatever that where we may be with whatever contract we're in. But I don't want to worry about 5 years from now when it comes to the business. I just want to continue to stay blessed and stay healthy, and hopefully these opportunities remain. But I don't really know because there's just so many things to do, and we obviously can't fall down forever. So I'm not ready to give it up because I'm still in love with the process. I'm still in love with the art, the art form and what we do out there and the connection to the crowd and the response. But I don't want to be in a position where I can't throw the football or chase my kids or know what I mean, do all that, coach them and everything. So I think year to year, I'm approaching 40 now. It's smart to analyze everything and be flexible.
Yeah, he's gone. He's not going to
Good for him.
No, he does. He sounds like he's on his way out. I'm glad that I can, relate to a man my own age. As we continue on our journey towards 40, we have a lot in common. So I just wanted to, I appreciate that. So
except for the 5
I look
kids
at the
and the
picture.
smoking hot black wife.
Right, and being a world-class athlete, and it's fine. I just got back to the gym 3 weeks ago, so doing good.
You get there.
Yeah, thanks, man.
Well, that was our fire starter here. Now we're really going to get hot because I don't know if you guys know this, but the city of LA is on fire right now.
What?
Wow.
I'm not sure if you guys... Look, I'm not sure there's anyone on here who's been documenting this over the last few days. Some shit's been going on in Los Angeles. It's getting, really, really bad. I mean, I don't know if you guys seen, some of the footage that has come out from L.A. over the course of the last couple of days. It's crazy. Here's something that happened just earlier today. I mean, L.A. is, really, really, bad now at this point.
Damn.
Look at this.
Oh my gosh.
I just watched this, and that's why I was laughing.
I don't hear peaceful protest being chanted, Jacob.
I mean,
Oh
this
my
is,
gosh.
live from CNN. It's like, this is really bad. But,
Whose streets are streets indeed?
yeah, right.
Get the ghost of Hugo Chavez up there on the radio tower watching the chaos unfold.
Ay.
Here's more video from the chaos in Los Angeles earlier today. It's just...
Oh my God! No.
I'm told this is because they want to be heard. So the volcano just wants to have its grievances heard.
This has to be
Absolutely.
climate change, right? This has to be the result of climate change. There's
absolutely-
No, this is the result of immigration. You see how long that volcano had to be repressed?
Clearly, it's water rights.
This is all about free Palestine. You know that.
Yeah, that's right.
Ah,
The volcano
that's it.
was there to show
The volcano
Israel
had
what's up.
It had the Kufka or whatever that it's called.
Okay,
That's the weirdest thing.
In the name of Allah, right? That's how we're going here,
Right?
This is
Only in LA do you find an Islamic volcano.
Oh, see, even Karen Bass showed up.
Yeah, here's the word from the mayor.
Your rules are really beginning to annoy me.
You ran a psycho profile on him using a data.
Okay, that's enough.
Copyright infringement. Yeah.
Yeah. Now all we're gonna do is like go back and just like watch like old movies about how bad LA is. But no.
All right.
Well, I have good news, right? Because all this crazy shit is obviously going to inspire a lot of movies. So video games is going to be a great time very soon.
It's inspired me entirely. I have literally an entire series I've been working on this whole weekend. It's great. I love it. It's fantastic.
So look, here's the reality of the situation. Riots in the city of Los Angeles go together like peanut butter and jelly. This has been not a new occurrence by any stretch of the imagination. It seems like every 30 years we get like a really big one that causes people to go crazy. I mean, if you're old enough,
no, he's not talking about an earthquake. He's talking about a group of people destroying the city of their own volition.
He's talking about an earthquake.
We just had some during the Summer of Love, right? So
right,
yeah. Oh.
The cycle is accelerating. Oh no!
So you have the riots back in like the mid 1960s, and that was a race-based riot. Because if keep in mind, you guys didn't know this, Compton, California, which is the notorious home of like Dr. Dre, Ice Cube, like those individuals. It used to be a majority white neighborhood back in the 50s, and then something happened, and that something was called the Watts riots, and then all the white people left, and then essentially Compton became the home of NWA. And it's never recovered. So that's fine. Then you had the Rodney King LA riots. That was like the big notable one because when the cops were acquitted in that case, LA just decided to go completely mad, and then for like 3 straight days there were super violent riots that took place all over the city. A few people died. By a few I mean like almost 60. Lots and lots of property damage. It was out of control for a while. Then things kind of simmered down for a little bit. Then we had the 2020 Summer of Love, where everyone out there was just doing their George Floyd thing, and now we have this whole situation.
Fully masked. I should point out they were fully masked when they were burning down everything.
Yes, it was very, very peaceful. Here's a guy peacefully pulling out a gun to shoot police officers in a standoff outside of Dale's Donuts.
Not Dale's Donuts.
It's been shut down for a while again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a gun. So,
dude.
Yeah, I like how the guy recording it's like, I don't want this.
I was like, oh shit, hold on.
I was just here trying to figure out what was going on. I'm not here to commit a felony.
Yeah. Like now the cops gonna be shooting at me thinking I'm with you. Like fuck that.
I'll look at it. I won't stop it, but I'll look at it like hell.
Yeah.
I just feel really bad for like the Dale's Donuts guys because like I know the original creator guy obviously doesn't intend for his establishment to become famous this way,
No. I mean, before this, it was Reservoir Dogs.
The good news is he's getting a lot of advertisements. The bad news is no one's rushing down there to get donuts right now
because it's closed.
Are they good?
Again, like it closed once after the Floyd riots, and it closed again because nobody showed up when it reopened in 21.
Mm-hmm.
Dale's Donuts are actually exquisite. They're like they're one of those like 3 a.m. kind of donut places where they like they take like an hour-long break in between shifts. They just stay open all day. It's a great place. That's actually
what
quite
happens?
good.
You close the donut shop, and the intersection nearby becomes a lawless zone. It's almost like the cops went somewhere else.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and normally they would go to the donut shops.
Exactly. Yeah. Now they're getting empanadas.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Nope.
Yeah, there is.
Love it.
No, they're delicious and nutritious.
I love the empanadas.
I will absolutely give you the rock bottom here on this show right now. Anyway, here's more Summer of Love. Very, very peaceful protest. Just as CNN
I think the guy with the flag. I think that's one of my cousins. I can't quite be sure.
Right, give it up to Latinos. At least they know how to make it dramatic and nice and theatrical.
Yep.
Yeah, I guess.
Can you hear the people singing the
here's
song
what I want to
of
say when we got
Angry
this
Man.
up here, right?
Yep.
So, these are self-driving cars. This is the epitome of innocent. These machines possess no driver to have a bias to run anyone down or be late somewhere or have some type of racial discrimination against anyone. The machines do not operate on any basis of economic good or bad. You can either afford to ride in the Waymo or you cannot. It is that simple. It's not a bus, you know. It is basically a taxi, but I guess a discounted one, and to my understanding, I could be wrong. But I digress. These machines stopped because humans got in front of them. They did their job, and they were destroyed. And I'll tell you, they have heat sensors because they're battery operated. So if these things encounter any error that would endanger those batteries, they would immediately come to a stop anyway. So they were fully aware of melting down. Those machines knew exactly what was happening to them. And they couldn't do anything about it. The emergency services that were intended to put those machines out before the white lithium batteries boiled and released toxic fumes in the air, which, again, if the video went on a little longer, you'd hear kablow and the little plod of very intense, almost near white flame erupts from the machine behind him. And that is the white lithium battery boiling and rupturing its surface, releasing intensely toxic fumes into the air. And, you know, that's just because these people wanted their voices heard, I'm told. That's why they did this. That's why they destroyed those machines.
Potentially poisoned themselves.
Yeah. I mean, that would be, like, for me, wherever, if they're in Car Valhalla looking down, I would hope that their Montezuma's revenge, their Mercury's revenge, if you will, you remember Mercury, the car company, their Mercury's revenge would be, like, turbo lung cancer for this. Like, it's sociopathy to attack these things. They literally did absolutely nothing at all and couldn't act in any biased manner whatsoever to be like some type of sacrificial whatever they are, the piñatas they make out of people.
Yeah. You know, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right, Cider. If I don't get this out, though. Did you see there, though? This is a revolution of Uber drivers. Of course they had a reason to take out the unarmed.
The radicalized Uber drivers that felt threatened by the self-driving taxis.
This is the gig revolution. This is the gig economy revolution. Just latching out at everyone, and damn to hell for the self-opposed mechanics of what things take off. They have nothing to lose but their circuits.
But this is protests in a nutshell, in general. Like, I'm sorry, but I go all the way back. I mean, in my own life, I remember Occupy Wall Street. What happened? Did the Wall Street executives were they held accountable? Did any meaningful legislation come out of it? Did you change anything? No, the world's still unequal, or it's still unfair. Oh, okay, great. You're wasting time. You're destroying shit. You're distracting yourselves from the fact that you have absolutely no power and no ability other than at the ballot box to change a goddamn thing. And like, I suppose I can understand sheer frustration, right? But it's like, if you see the same thing happening over and over and over and over again, I don't know, maybe you would find a different way to try to get those frustrations out, because you're only damaging your own.
Roberto, when they go to the ballot box, they go to the same people that caused the problems.
That requires people acknowledging a problem and a solution that is not working. But these people don't acknowledge it; they just continue to do the same things over and over again.
The people that vote, if and when they do vote, they vote for the people who do not solve the situation and ultimately end up with the situation. And so I'll bet you after this, in the next election, which would be what, 2026, the next year, they'll still sweep in Mayor Bass into power, and
don't forget Gavin, our good buddy.
Well,
he'll be president. He'll be vice president.
I have to tell you, a statistic surfaced recently, thanks to good old Grok analyzing the census. It's estimated, this could be higher or lower, it's estimated that almost 10% of Los Angeles' population is undocumented. So let's say that we erode that by about 8%. I don't know if Mayor Bass is going to make it back in again.
Oh, she will. Unless they find someone.
We are delusional out here.
I got to be honest with
Kamala runs.
Like, when it comes to Los Angeles, everyone thinks that they're going to reach a point where maybe they'll clicks on and they'll get it. It's not going to happen. I think they're probably the closest that we've come to that was in 2020 when the after effects of the Summer of Love happened and people started realizing that their neighborhoods were no longer safe. But if that didn't snap them out of it, then at this point nothing's going to, like, they're going to go down with the ship.
The lockdowns didn't help. I mean, they still voted in for the people who kept the lockdowns going because, you know, if it saves just one life.
So by the way, here's a local report headlined by a guy who sounds a lot like Cider. I don't know what it is, but here you go.
Mercedes Sprinter van appears to have been lit on fire here as the night broils on in Los Angeles. This is not too far from where LAPD continues to have a standoff with rioters who insist on setting off fireworks aimed at the police.
Wow, that was a great AI, wasn't it?
Wow.
It's almost
He does sound like Cider.
I'm impressed. Cider, you like me have a cousin out there.
Yeah. You should do the weather, Cider.
Remember? I'm all the white guys.
Yeah.
Just all of
them.
You should do the weather more often.
It was good enunciation.
Yeah, and then obviously, so it's funny because the way that I learned about the whole riot starting in LA, because as you guys know, WWE had 2 pay-per-views on Saturday, literally at the start of all the riot. First of all, you're in Inglewood. That's already shifty as it is. And then as, like, Money in the Bank is happening and Seth Rollins is being praised to win another championship again, oh, by the way, you had people like this throwing throwing stones, in literal stones at cop cars and shields, stuff like that. That's when I realized, oh, things are getting ugly out there.
Bread and circuses, my friend. Bread and circuses.
Oh, yeah. And look, I know some people are saying, oh, no, these are just paid agitators. It's like, look, some of them maybe, I'm sure, but I've been in L.A. I know it very well. This is L.A., baby. Like, this is not all... Like I said, this has been going on for, like, the good part of, like, nearly 100 years now. At some point, you just got to accept that. No, those are the people, all right. And then here's another one. Totally AI voice Cider. Totally not real at 1 iota.
We do also expect and hope to hear from the governor, who is in Los Angeles meeting with federal, local officials here, LAPD, LASD.
Worthless piece of shit, Gavin Newsom. Yeah.
Press briefing.
He's going to come out and tell you everything's fine. Meanwhile, these motherfuckers are trying to light a cop car on fire, even though there's nothing going on with it. It's been destroyed, and they're not satisfied.
Of Los Angeles.
That was AI. That's totally AI.
That, by the way, if they even thought about it, that is city property, and thus that's taxpayer funded. So they are destroying.
Well, not to mention
that they pay taxes for.
Well, not only that, but this is just the cop cars that they had cornered in downtown LA. We all saw the video of, like, when the ICE agents were, like, literally driving away and people were hurling stones into the windshield of those cars. Now, keep in mind, if they were not in official ICE vehicles that obviously are a lot more resistant to heavy damage like that, those things could have easily gone through the windshield or through the windows and killed the driver and everyone else in that car. And it's like, oh yeah, great, let's we're heroes because we caused the people who got arrested from the ICE car to crash and die. But I mean, hey, we stopped them from going to jail, getting deported. So we're still the heroes, guys.
It's almost the same mindset that Hamas has, that they see themselves as heroic for, you know, strangling babies and raping women.
These people are lucky that cops are not riding down the streets with, like, assault rifles out the fucking windows, like just looking for people to start trouble. Because it's like you're threatening law enforcement. What do you think's going to happen? Like, this is not a protest. These are a series of riots. And I saw the comment earlier how this may be about paid agitators or people looking. And look, every time there's a riot, every time there's one of these events, you have people who take advantage, who loot, who just want to destroy property because they want to be destructive. You know, like we were talking about the Dark Knight earlier. It's very much that same mentality. It's like there's nothing logical about this. They just want to watch the world burn. They want to tear down society because they are a chaotic being. They are a chaotic individual. And so it's like, I'm sorry. Everybody who's saying that like the law enforcement's overreacting or like ICE needs to get out of LA, it's like, you're breaking the law. They're federal law enforcement officers. What the fuck do you think they're going to do? You know what I mean? It's like this. They are exercising their legal an obligation to serve and protect. Okay, people are breaking the law. People are assaulting federal, vehicles, whatever. And it's just like there should be a light that goes off and says, "Hey, maybe the cops, maybe the authorities have a point of view.
No, they don't, because obviously they are all racist. They are all going to target just one individual group. So they're going to grab every single one, every single Hispanic or Spanish or Mexican-looking person, and without cause, and they're just going to toss them all out. That's the logic. That's the thinking behind it.
There's a few questions about this whole situation. Before I let it off to you guys, I want to kind of unpack this from a much broader perspective here. Because from someone who's born and raised in San Diego, who knows the Los Angeles, Southern California area very, very well, I think what's happening, especially with this weekend, is that the country by and large is getting a window to a problem that has existed in Southern California for a very, very long time. Now, it's all coming to a head right now, but let me rewind you back to a few years ago. This is something that I've noticed that I was very bothered by. This is a video here from the 2011 Gold Cup. It was a soccer match between Mexico and the U.S. that took place in Los Angeles. So this was 14 years ago that this happened. But I remember this video because I remember being pretty pissed off by it at the time period. Let me explain. It was the U.S. and Mexico in a soccer match. At the end of the day, it's soccer. It's not that big of a deal, whatever the case may be, right? But Mexico won. I think it was like a 2-1 game. It was played in Los Angeles. I want to say they were at the Rose Bowl. And then after the game ended, this is obviously the, ceremony for the game and whatnot. And as you can see there, at the Rose Bowl, there's about 80,000 people in attendance there. And every single one of them are wearing Mexico shirts, wearing Mexican flags. Pretty much the same thing that you're seeing in a lot of these riots here. This is kind of the thing that bothered me. I guess you could say this is my initial red pill moment, but what I never understood is that, look, I get it. Living in San Diego, living in, being in LA, there's a lot of people there who are legitimately born in Mexico. I get it, right? So it's like, if you're born in Mexico and that's where you were raised and you want to support Mexico, wear all the Mexican colors, I'm not against that in any way, shape, or form. I'm not against someone being for their home country in any way, shape, or form. That does not bother me. The thing that has bothered me, however, is that I noticed that these aren't people born and raised in Mexico who grew up in the neighborhoods and know all that stuff. These are the second to third generation of people who were born here in the America, but their allegiance has still never crossed over to the United States of America. It stayed with Mexico. Why? Because, well, their parents were in Mexico, or their aunties and uncles, so they still have a allegiance, quote unquote, to Mexico, despite being born and raised in the United States of America all their life. Now, what I have been told, what all you guys have been told for many, many years, is that Mexico is a horrible, violent place. It's not safe. It's basically third world. The cartels control everything, and the reason why everyone's been coming here for the last 40 years is because, well, you know what? If we were to go back there, there's a good chance we could die. So it's like, okay, we'll bring people in, whether legally, illegally, we'll get to that here in a second. But yeah, sure, you want to come here to make a better life for yourself? Great, because this is the United States of America. It's the land of opportunity, blah, blah, blah. But then people come here and they show absolutely no gratitude whatsoever for the country they live in. And as a result, as we've been seeing this sentiment grow over the last several years, they're actually growing up to hate and despise the United States of America. So now you're seeing these people 14 years later out on the streets, and they're all waving Mexico flags. They're burning the United States flag. They hate the United States. They despise the United States. But for whatever reason, if you were to send them back to the country that apparently they love so much, that is like the worst thing you could possibly do in the world. It's the most hateful, bigoted thing you can possibly do as an American, to send people back to apparently the country that they seemingly would be more happier with, right? This has been going on for quite some time now. So I think that a lot of people are seeing this window for a much bigger situation here. I do have a follow-up video that I want to play to that, because this is also an older video that has gone viral here, but I do want to start off with obviously Eddie Brock, who's our resident Samoan / Mexican person here. What is your thoughts on the entire LA kerfuffle here, as someone who has experience in the protest community?
I absolutely despise what's going on and destroying everything destroying property and everything else. That's disgusting. Now, in this country, this is the only country that allows you to riot this way, by the way. This is the only country that allows you to go out of your way to destroy everyone else's shit around you, and allows you to express yourself in this free form of, destroying shit. and it's terrible that we have to deal with that. But sadly, this is what we have in this country. And I don't know, when I was a kid, I hated America. Like I had to grow up like hating this country. I grew up hating this country for a long time, and it took a long time for me to like switch over and realize that this is my country. I can't denounce this country either, and I can't I can't hate this place. It's hard to hate this place, especially when they give me abilities to do shit like this. Now, I wish that Americans that are counter to all this would do the exact opposite, because you have the ability to do the exact opposite every single day and go out and show people and tell people about what you actually believe on the streets and actually do everything. You have the exact way to counter all of this, and we've done it, and it's been done before, and I wish it was something that the entire country had to deal with sometimes. It shouldn't just be LA. All the good people have left LA. All the people that you wish had stayed there to stand up to these assholes have left now. Everyone's leaving LA. It's all becoming nothing but this. It's all because San Francisco becoming nothing but this. Everyone's leaving. You scared all the good people away, and they're all in other places, and they won't tell you what really happened. And what really happened is shit like this. Scared them away, and nobody stood up and said, hey, you know what? Nobody around the country. Because California is the worst place in the world, right? We're the shittiest we're the left coast, we're the shittiest people. We're delusionally idiotic. And the entire country shits on you. And now you got everyone here completely gone who would have stayed. The rest of the country, I'm not saying the rest of the country put this together, but this is something that was going to boil over eventually. And I'm glad that it's Trump that's president doing it, because if this was Biden, this place would have been blown up a long time ago. So we gotta counter this kind of protest outside of all this. So that's my opinion.
You're recommending a move to California then? Because
I
am looking for a new place to move to here relatively soon. So yeah, California, good place.
Absolutely.
Yeah, if you could somehow make,
come to California. I'm serious. Come to California. It's cheap now. It's going to be cheaper pretty soon. Yeah. Right?
First of all, you got where you're going is very dependent on that, because, like I said,
you can pick places that you want to be, but California legitimately would be the perfect. If we had Arkansas and Iowa move to California and just shape some shit out, we'd be gravy. It would be the fifth largest economy in the world by itself, instead of borrowing everything from China.
I figure, Rob, that an ideal place for you might be West Hollywood, but we'll just.
Hey, I'd be the most masculine man there, so it would
work. Rob live in Burbank.
I do very well, yeah. No, but it's just like I don't know. Studio City is more my thing. There are things about California I like. I still have that dream of like that beautiful place, and by the ocean, and you have San Francisco, which is a gorgeous city, even with all the shit, even with all the problems. They ruined that fucking city. They absolutely with the tech industry, with the price gouging, the real estate market. I mean, you name it. So it's whatever. It's like, it's funny that Republicans kind of like lost control over California in the 80s, and really since then it's gone downhill. It has not. There's not even been one renaissance of like,
Reagan was like the last bastion, and then all down here after that.
I mean, there used to be a term, California Republican. It was a very specific type of like American.
Like a Democrat.
Well, yeah, fine, but was, you know what I mean? Was open to other ideas, but was pretty much, I want my taxes low and I want to keep my property, and so it's a shame what's happened in California. I think it's a beautiful place, but that it just shows you when the wrong people govern you, when they only support the rich and the elite and people who I guess can't be touched by the ballot box. It's like that. You get what you pay for. You get what you vote for. The results are right there. And guess what? All those riots, Did they happen? Oh, they all happened after the Republicans lost power, huh? That's weird.
But that's the problem now, because I mean, over the last 20 so years, the political system has become so corrupt and rigged in California. It's like a Republican couldn't win there if you tried, because now it's like you don't even have to have Republicans on the ballot anymore. But these people, they don't come to this realization that, okay, you guys complain about everything that's going on in your state, whether it's the rent so high I can't afford to live here, the homeless problem, the myriad of just problems that are associated with California, but they never stop for 1 second to think, hey, look, we all hate Republicans, right? Well, look around. There's no Republican inside the blame here. We don't have Republicans on the city level, the state level. We can't blame the mayor. We can't blame the governor. We can't blame any of the congressmen, because they're all people who we voted for. So it's like, at what point do we take any accountability for saying, hey, maybe these guys are not helping the situation?
It's still their fault. It's still the Republicans' fault, because you have the Republican in the White House and you have a Republican-dominated or Republican majority Congress. If you've seen some of those, I guess, interviews or press conferences or meetings, it's still the Republicans' fault, even though they do not govern in the city or in the county or in the state of California. It's still their fault. It's only when we get a Democratic president, a Democratic Congress, that you'll see all of these problems will disappear. This is their thinking. I'm just saying. This is the way they think, because obviously it's that Principal Skinner meme, you know.
No, the children must be wrong.
Yes.
Am I out of touch? Am I out of touch? No, it's the children who must be wrong.
Yes, that is the way that they are thinking. You know, it cannot be what they think. It has to be outside factors. So I'll just put in my 2 small cents here. First, I'm here hiding in an undisclosed location because, you know, ICE will be coming around any moment. I think the people who are rioting, most, I can't say all, most are confusing ethnic pride with the law. I mean, there's nothing wrong with being proud. Jacob's right. There's nothing wrong with being proud of your ancestry. But here's something that a lot of the Chicanos in California don't really understand. Authentic Mexicans, born and raised there, don't like them. They think they have contempt for the Chicanos. They have contempt for Mexican Americans. I don't understand it. And I say this as the son of an immigrant. My mom absolutely loved this country. She was very proud to be an American, and she taught me to be proud of American. So I guess because maybe I'm from Texas, I don't understand this kind of thinking. But when they're waving the Mexican flags, they think that they're expressing pride in their heritage. I don't know if it's a failure to integrate as much as we should have, but it's not very helpful when you're trying to say, oh, you know, Mexico's so great, we're waving here the flags, Viva Mexico, Viva la Raza, but don't send any of us. But I think also, just going to wrap up, I think there's this fear that they'll just take all the Hispanics, regardless of citizenship status, that they'll just grab all of this, all of us, all of me, and then just throw us out. And that's what their thinking is. I think, their thinking. That all these ICE agents are not going to find, quote, the illegals. They're going to take all the Mexican Americans, and they're going to take them and throw them out of the country. They think it's a sort of first step to some sort of mass expulsion. I think that's what they think. I think that's what they think. Not
that's the hypocrisy behind it, right? Because all of these people are proudly waving the Mexican flag on the streets while they're doing the rioting, yet at the same time they're press testing the American government, essentially threatening them to send them back to the country of the flag that they're waving in the first place.
Yep.
Well, I guess their reasoning is we were here first.
Well, those people were the people that are waving the Mexican flag the loudest, like the guy in the middle there with, you know, the Netflix trailer, right? He's not from Mexico. He is a guy who stayed in fucking Santa Ana his whole life, and he came down because his dad picks grapes around the area, which is fine. I make money off of people who pick grapes. So And these people aren't Mexicans. Like the ones that are like really getting angry and really destroying Los Angeles are people who just hate America. And you're being taught that in Los Angeles all the time, not only in the classrooms but also in the streets. Well, and you're not meant to try. You're not meant to try.
I don't know if that's completely true. I think they're being.
I don't know what it is in Texas.
Well, I'm saying that I think they're being taught to be terrified. I mean, remember you're
taught in the streets to be worried about La Migra.
No. Even I'm talking about some people that I know who are so thoroughly convinced that the Donald is going to throw all of us out. They are looking into, if not actually applying for Mexican citizenship, so they can have their passports when they get tossed out of the country. And I'm seen as the oddball for thinking that that's just total nonsense. But it's just this fear, this absolute fear and paranoia among certain people who have been second or third generation. So totally convinced that Trump is single-handedly just going to expel every Hispanic and maybe repeal the 13th Amendment and maybe annex Canada. I mean, it's just the paranoia.
It's very illogical.
I'll say in Los Angeles.
But I know it's illogical, but it's what people genuinely think, and this is what people have to
I will say in Los Angeles.
What do you think that my gay best friend got married on January 17th? Because he was convinced that on January 20th, all same-sex marriages were going to be illegal. Why do you think I know people who are looking into applying for Mexican citizenship, even
though Rick, have you ever considered maybe
because they think that they are going to get expelled?
Yeah, you're friends with narcissists. You're friends with narcissistic people who are so self-focused that they're like, this is all about me. No, it's not, you dumb fuck. Because if it were, there would be a logical conclusion that could take you to there to say, this
fear
is coming.
Does not have logic.
The pattern.
Maybe my friends are the problem.
Hey, there is nobody that's more fear-based than me. Okay, and I still use logic to help me along, so I'm not some scared little fucking animal who's just I'm just reacting all the time to everything. What the fuck is wrong with you? Seriously.
Hold on, wait, stop. Let's pause here for a second, because there's a second half to this I'm going to play in a second. But I want Cider's opinion on this here, because, like I said, Cider, you're obviously in the main, so you're so far removed from the source of this problem. Like, you've been watching all this occur kind of from a lens different from all of us here, right? Because I think at least a few of us here.
The only bad Mexican is a bad chili relleno to Cider.
But so I want to get your take on what's happening here from basically from the perspective of, if you're in California, maybe some places in Texas too, especially Austin, since all those people are moving out there anyway from California. But what is basically your take on the mindset of these people who are doing all the looting and the protesting? That, like I said, they're born here, they're raised here, they despise this country, they want to represent other nations, but at the same time they think that it's essentially akin to Nazism to want to be sent back to that same nation that they're bragging about. It makes no sense for me, and I've seen it many points from you. What is your kind of take from this whole situation here?
Well, if you roll your R's, it's over. You're going home. It's that simple. No, the thing is, I have the nuclear hot take. I have a nuclear hot take on this. I don't think anybody should be waving a foreign flag, be it the Israel flag, the Ireland flag, right? We don't celebrate St. Patrick's Day because of the Irish. We celebrate St. Patrick's Day because of St. Patrick, the man who delivered the love of Christ to the Emerald Isle. So what are we doing waving the Irish flag? And, again, I have to ask, Israel's a place. It has a lot of firepower of its own. It's well represented in media. Why are we flooding the streets with that flag? Just as much as I am confused over why the Palestinian flag is everywhere. Just as much as I am confused why people are waving the Mexican flag and telling me that they love America. This is the problem, is that, as Rick explained, is that they're conflating their racial identity with that flag. That they are Mexican because of their race. And thus, that flag is their race, as people who are Irish, American, believe that that flag is symbolic of their race, okay? And this is the biggest problem with all this, is the identity politics that has come to represent it. And that's where you're at right now. These people feel they're going to be in mass moved out because people like them have been moved out, and all of their politics have taught them that if one Nazi is at the table, everybody's a Nazi at the table. If one of you gets deported at the table, everybody at the table is getting deported. That's all they understand. Race, identity, creed, all of it, religion, it's a monolith to them. So if one guy goes down, that means everybody's going down. Irregardless of what that guy did, all of them will now be punished uniformly. What's worrying about me is that there are people that possess this logic and they're allowed to cast a vote in this country. Well, no, it's not that they're stupid. It's that one day, one day they'll elect a Judge Dredd. That's the thing. That's where that logic eventually ends, is they get so scared that the only situation that's going to resolve this is a guy that can literally boom in the middle of somebody's, quinceañera and put an end to it. We're just a lot of people get riled up, and I got my own anger about it because, again, I'm removed from it. I don't exist in this realm of people that are from outside of this country are so brazen about it. The craziest thing that happens with flags around me are there are people that have lived all their lives in Maine running around with the stars and bars on their pickup truck. Like, what are you doing, pal? You're the wrong. This is the wrong borderline to be running that truck. I got a funny story. My cousin went and bought the Union Jack. He put that flag up on his bedroom, took a picture of himself, and he sends it to me, and he says, "Rebel for life." The picture he sent me, he thought it was the stars and bars, but it's Union Jack.
He's a real rebel.
Well, that's what the logic is for these people, is they see that Mexican flag and they go, I'm Mexican, so I will wave the Mexican flag. And that's the problem, is that when we go, we're going to take all these people with the Mexican flag out, well, they go, well, I'm Mexican. That flag is me. If we can't wave the flag, I can't represent myself. We haven't taught these people, or at least they haven't accepted the notion that American means American. Doesn't mean anything else. You are an American. I'm through with African American. I'm through with European American, Irish American, Chinese American, Mexican American. You are an American. The end.
And it's weird. Let me say this.
Ryder has a very good point.
Let me say this, because this is something that I've noticed too with a lot of other races and whatnot. Because, like I said, the flag is basically code for their race, right? And there's a lot of other groups that do this too. Because look, it's not like they're the only ones in this country that do that. I'm pretty sure everyone has seen Irish parades and Puerto Rican parades and Cuban and stuff like that. But I think the big key difference is that for those people, there's not an added on hatred of, oh, I'm Puerto Rican, so I hate America, or I'm Cuban, so I hate America. That is not part of it, because I think with those other groups, they realize that, yeah, there's a reason why either you or your family left your place of origin to begin with, because there's a lot of shitty things going on over there, right? This is why the Democrats have such a hard time with Cuban Americans, people down there in Florida who leave Cuba, come to Miami. It's yeah, I'm Cuban, but I want to be here because I know what it feels like to live in a communist hellhole, and I don't want to go back there. And I'm trying to make sure that my family gets out of there too. So there is an appreciation. There's other people out there who realize, hey, look, Puerto Rico's not the best place right now, or insert nation here isn't the best place right now. For it seems like, for whatever reason, with Mexico, it's the only one that is prominent in this country where not only is there they actively want to come here, and then they stake claim here. Then there's a hatred of the nation that basically gave them safety by their own admission, and that's the thing that just kind of boggles the mind here. Now, before we could go into any other conversation here, I want to play this because this is the second half of this too. This is another viral argument. Now, this is a while back ago too. This is also 2011, so this goes back 14 years. But as I said, this is not a new occurrence. This has been going on for a long time. Cat Williams was doing a stand-up routine in Phoenix, Arizona at the time. He got into an argument with a heckler who was Mexican during one of his shows, who was basically spouting out that, this is America, this is Mexico or something like that, talking about California and Arizona, saying that, oh, this is Mexico, this ain't America. And obviously Cat Williams, if you guys don't know Cat Williams' style of comedy, he's very blunt, he's very in your face, and this led to this whole tirade here that people are now cycling back to and being like, oh yeah, this is exactly, he was ahead of the curve, quote unquote, even though it's the same issue. But now people are going back to the same thing that they're seeing with these L8 riots and going, yeah, why are we conceding the moral high ground to these people? It makes no sense. So I'll play a little bit of this here. This is from 2011 with Cat Williams.
Mexico, motherfucker, and now it's Phoenix, goddammit!
Right, 2011. This was when Obama was president.
Yeah, it's been broiling for a while.
Mm-hmm.
Obama deported a lot of people.
Oh yeah.
All that racial healing. All that racial healing.
I feel like this happens very often.
Notice he isn't standing down though.
You're not wrong.
Security is like coming up on him. Like, what's up, man?
Hey, what up, bro?
Maybe you want to take a walk, Haas?
See now, if this was like 10-year-old me, I would totally identify with the Mexican.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, I identify with Cat Williams.
If this is a white comedian who did this, like he would be like Michael Richards level blacklisted if he had ever tried to do something like this.
Well, that's because Michael Richards said the other one, and he went a little too far with that one. You know?
Yeah, right.
He was speaking truth to too much power.
Motherfuckers think they can live in this country and then still be allegiance to another fucking country. If you love another country more than you love America, motherfucker, then get to step into that bitch.
I imagine that the audience is not made up of Anglos.
Keep in mind, they're in Phoenix, too, by the way. But there's a whole full 7-minute video you guys can check in on your own time there. But, yeah, that was 14 years ago. So, even though it hadn't exploded to the point that it is now, there were many, many people even back then that were kind of fed up by this mentality that you see prominently in places like California, Arizona. You see it in, like I said, Texas as well, where why are all these people coming over here and then they're still, like I said, pledging allegiance to Mexico and hating on America? And it was like, well, since most of you guys aren't even here legally to begin with, then it's like, yeah, when somebody like Trump comes along and says, build a wall and take them all back, you wonder why a message like that grew with a lot of people. It's like, I wonder what could have possibly led people to get to that point.
It is a conflation of taking pride in your ancestry with believing that you are currently that ancestry. I was thinking about Zider's right. There's an unfortunate strain in certain Mexican American homes where they teach them you're Mexican, you're not American, and it goes to the second, it goes to the third generation where they see themselves as almost separate from the dominant culture. They have a hard time. That's why they have a hard time. They don't want to name their children.
Clusters.
They don't want to name their children like Tyler Gonzalez. Or they see that as some sort of betrayal. They have to still be the Juan and the Enriquez and all of this. Like, and some of them, it's sad that some of these Enrique Gonzalez's, who are like the grandchildren of immigrants, can't speak a word of Spanish, but yet they know all about La Raza. I come at it from a different angle because, as you know, my mom came to this country and she was always very proud to be naturalized a citizen. And she always used to tell me, I'm the real American, not like you and your father. You two were just born here. But even then, my mom was very adamant that I had to integrate into the dominant culture. I had to learn English. Of course, I had to learn Spanish as well. And It was interesting. She would speak to me in Spanish, I would speak to her in English, and we both understood each other perfectly. It's just this very curious idea. And I think that's what so many rioters in California think, that, if they go after people who are not here legally, they're going to go grab us. And which is why we have to apply for Mexican citizenship for when Donald Trump is going to literally pick us up and throw us across the river.
Barehanded.
It's I don't understand that paranoia. I don't understand that sense. It's like, I've been what, 6 months, and I'm still waiting for my deportation orders.
This is why your mom did that. She did that so that you wouldn't be an outsider, so that you wouldn't be disconnected from the culture, so that you didn't feel like an alien, like like somebody just completely cut off from the country that you are a member of, that you are an American. And I know that I'm like getting on my soapbox a little bit right now, but it's like, this is the shit that people died for. They died to come to this country and proudly call themselves American. And the irony of all this is, of course, like the things that came out of it, like the mob, where it was like, you have this beautiful vision of immigrants coming to this country and competing, and you also have that underbelly. And where I spent a lot of time in Eastern Washington, a little bit obviously north of California, but there's a very large Mexican American population, or let's just call it Mexican population there, who are migrant workers who really built that town. It's being there as a I'm saying white guy, basically mixed up. I was the minority. That's the only time I've ever felt like that in my life. I was in this town of 8,000 people, 6,500 of them are Mexicans. And so, and I see this kind of culture, this resistance to kind of assimilate. And I'm not going to say it's right or wrong. It's kind of just what it is. But you can kind of see some really negative attitudes, really negative cultural viewpoints come out of that, to the point where you're now attacking the country you're supposed to be a part of. The culture you're supposed to assimilate in.
Well, that's because
I think it comes from the. Oh, go ahead, Eddie.
No, it's because it's such an old time mentality. Like here in America, we have the idea of everybody just kind of getting along and everything, but we have an entire section of the Americas called in Latin America that are taught to hate each other based on tribal shit that goes back centuries, that holds on all the way up until now for some reason. It's the reason why Dominicans and Haitians don't like each other. I had a wonderful girl I used to have from Chile, right? My stupid mentality of like centuries of shit made me not like enjoy her nearly as much because she was Chilean and I'm Peruvian. And we have this natural rivalry with each other. And that's what that's what you're getting from a lot of Mexicans in Mexico, is you're taught in Mexico that America was yours. And so when you're going to America, you're not going to a foreign land. You're going to a place that you used to own. And just because some white people are there doesn't mean that you don't own and have claim to anything that goes on in that place. And it's like
go ahead.
Sorry. No, just just having this, like, and that's like the feeling that people have coming from this area. That, again, that's not the kids who are blowing shit up in L.A., but that's the mentality of a lot of immigrants that are coming from Mexico into the United States. Is I used to own this because I'm Mexican and this used to be Mexico. They're trying to get that idea.
I will tell you that was never the mindset of any of my mom or any of my aunts and uncles who came over. That was never their thinking.
Not everybody.
Own this.
Not everybody.
We own this. They were all very happy to come here. And my mom would always say, "You think we would have had a good life over in Mexico? No, we would have been living in squalor. Here we have. She will love the idea of the American dream, the home, the 2 cars, all of that. I don't know if she wanted the country club membership, but that would have been a little too much for her.
And here's the thing. I just want to say real quick to Eddie, that's history. The idea that I used to own that, or my people were, and a lot of things.
Well, you know what? Just tell them. I would just tell them. You lost the war. Get over.
I'm not agreeing. I'm not agreeing to it. I'm just saying that's the mentality of a lot of people that are coming over here. Is that this is America because we were Americans.
Eddie is partially right. You do not know how angry some Cubans will get if you ask them if they're Mexican or vice versa.
I hate it.
It's like, oh, it's fine.
We literally.
That's the reason why I call you Puerto Rican in every show.
Yeah, I know that. I know that I will. I know that I will apparently become Puerto Rican when I get mad because I will not only lapse into Spanish, but I'll speak it very rapidly.
Yeah.
So that's why.
Well, I will say this here. This is the update from LA as of, let's say, 30-ish minutes ago. LA has now declared a local emergency and issued a curfew for downtown. The mayor, who said that all of this was peaceful and Trump was making everything bad, is now saying that 23 businesses were looted in downtown LA alone. Now, law enforcement will arrest anyone who breaks the curfew. So, good luck, LA. Doesn't seem like it's going to get better anytime soon.
Sad as one of those sushi restaurant.
There's nothing more clear about standing up for racial justice than by stealing a whole bunch of Nikes. That is true fighting against racism and bigotry.
Taking it to the man.
And that's what I mean. Is like the kids that are down there aren't like standing up for Mexico. It puts a blight on Mexicans. They're not helping Mexicans by doing that shit. Because
Mexicans have contempt for Chicanos. They have.
What's the difference? I'm sorry. What is the difference between a Mexican and a Chicano? They're not both Mexican?
A Chicano's a white Mexican that was born here.
Oh, okay.
Well, a Chicano is like a cholo. Have you seen American Me?
Yes.
Bound by Honor.
Yeah.
That would be a Chicano. And believe me, that's certainly not
Benjamin Pratt is a Chicano.
Even though he's technically like half Peruvian.
Yeah, see, I know this, guys.
This is all meaningless, by the way, guys. Hey, we're all one race.
If you saw Stand and Deliver, that would
that's I hated that movie, by the way. But yeah, I know what you mean.
And I will say that certainly was not my upbringing. I was.
We do have a couple more things to talk about, so we might recycle this one depending on how much worse LA gets in the course of the week. So stay tuned. That's all I have to say there. But I want to jump to this one. This is a quick one until we get to our closer here. Dakota Johnson basically says that Madam Web's failure is not her fault. And I don't know. I feel like Dakota Johnson may be one of the biggest airheads in Hollywood, but I think she's my favorite airhead in Hollywood at this point. 'Cause she's harmless. Like she's really like, you can't really hate her for anything that she says because you just know there's no real meaning between anything that she says at a certain point. She's just a harmless individual. Dakota Johnson says that Madam Web's flop wasn't my fault. Decisions in Hollywood were made by people who don't have a creative bone in their body. So once again, another woman is refusing to take any accountability for her actions. And here we have with Dakota Johnson talking about the failures of Madam Web, which was, I think, on pretty much everyone's list for top 10 worst movies of that year. And she was a big part of it because I don't know if she was acting. She feels like she suffered some form of like brain damage and then been just like continued to act. She's almost like the female Gary Busey, like in a way. Like you don't really know like if she's being serious or not, or is that just her current like condition. That's basically what I see her.
Is she gonna rip out my endocrine system?
Give it time. So Dakota Johnson.
No, that was the thing Gary Busey said to a man once.
Yeah.
I don't know your kinks.
Johnson was in
as
the
JoJo
movie, which keep in mind she threw under the bus like the week the movie came out, basically saying that she refused to watch it, she didn't want to watch it, and then distance herself from anything having to do with it as the movie happened. There was folks internally in Sony that kind of blamed her, saying that she didn't help matters at all for the fact that the movie flopped. This is back in 2024. Dismal $43 billion of the domestic box office. I'm surprised it made that much money. And 11% on Rotten Tomatoes. Johnson headlined the film as Cassandra Webb, a paramedic who gains a ability to see the future after a near-death experience. She said it wasn't my fault as far as the movie goes. There's this thing that happens where a lot of creative decisions are made by committee or made by people who don't have a creative bone in their body. It's really hard to make art that way or to make something entertaining that way. I think unfortunately with Madam Web, it started out as something and it turned into something else, and I was sort of along for the ride at that point. But that happens. Bigger budget movies fail all the time. And she says that Johnson felt burned by the movie's reception, saying that I don't have a Band-Aid over it. There's no part of me that's like, oh, I'll never do that again or anything. I've done even tiny movies that didn't do well. Like, who cares? That's actually what she said, told Bustle here. By the way, she's also in a new movie called The Materialist, which is starring Chris Evans, former Captain America, and yes, Pedro Pascal, who's also in that fucking movie too, because he's in every movie that's being released this year. He's in everything. You will not escape Pedro Pascal in 2025, and I hope you know that. But yeah, she's essentially passing the buck to everyone else for that. And I'll say this. It's not solely her fault for the movie being bad. Obviously, there was some pretty horrific writing and camera work and creative decisions that went on there. But then also, you have to look at the fact that Dakota Johnson has kind of the personality of, like, you know, a plastic bag. At the same time, too, that also doesn't, you know, shine cinematic star, especially when she's the one front-loaded on all the promotional material. It's like, oh, yeah, people are going to want to go see her in this film, and no one did. And no one did. And then there's the other part that there was no Spider-Man in a movie in the Spider-Man universe, which it seems like all of those have failed in the Sony universe, but they just keep, you know, doing it. So
well, you did have a baby Peter Parker.
Yeah.
Okay,
Rob.
So we're not technically like.
So I like Dakota Johnson, despite the fact that she hasn't really given that many good performances on screen. She was good in Suspiria. She was good in Daddy-O. I thought that she came back strong with that one after Madam Web. But I was secretly hoping Madam Web was like at least so bad it's good, and it kind of goes in that direction. But it's just too much of a mess all around to be any kind of an enjoyable viewing experience. So, you know. But I think I'm going to go see this movie this weekend. My movie going is kind of reinvigorated since Ballerina, and I'm like, all right, I'm going to go like 4 weeks in a row because there's Materialist is coming out this weekend. 28 years later, the follow-up, the Zombie trilogy, the week after, and then I'm forgetting something big. F1, the Brad Pitt Formula One movie. So I'm hoping it's at least a decent couple weeks at the theater, but I kind of agree with what Dakota Johnson's saying here, that this is not her fault, or Madam Web's not her failure. She's right. I mean, it's the screenwriters, it's the director, it's the people who put the movie together, who presented this package to her. She agreed to it. She took the salary. She took the money. She could have said, hey, your script is shit. What the fuck are you doing? But she didn't. She's a working actress in Hollywood, and actors, you know, you ever see those interviews where they're like, hey, so-and-so wants to do a sequel to this. It's like, yeah, actors want to act. Like, that's not an exciting headline. That's just, you know, what the industry is. So not much to really add here. She is kind of an airhead. But she's a good interview. She does seem to be semi-self-aware, even if she comes off like kind of an idiot. But yeah, we'll see. I do not have high hopes for this movie. Pedro Pascal, Chris Evans, kind of two box office, like, just very bland personalities. And, you know, again, Dakota Johnson without a good script is kind of bland on screen as well. So
we do know that this movie is going to be the equivalent to the Philadelphia Story with Cary Grant, James Stewart, and Katharine Hepburn. That's all of them.
You saw Past Lives, right? You saw Celine
Yes,
Song.
I did. Yes,
Okay.
I did.
You don't think it was Cuck the movie?
Yes, it was.
Okay.
I'm sorry. I would not allow my wife to have dates with her ex-boyfriend and like contemplate the life. I was horrified. That guy was such a wimp. Her husband was such a wimp, and that's all I kept writing in my notes. Wimp, wimp, wimp. As for Dakota Johnson, no, I agree with Rob. You can't. I think actors can do only so much with the scripts that they do, and sometimes they are able to actually elevate the script and give decent performances in bad films. But I don't see why she should take the whole blame for this movie flopping. She may have had a hand in it. Maybe her performance could have been better, but I mean, Dakota Johnson's never proven herself to be, one of the greats of cinema. But it's not all her fault, and people who are just blaming her entirely are being unfair. It's the script, it's the directing. We saw the movie. Now there are a lot of things that you can do with that, and say that's just not going to work. But we're gonna blame Dakota Johnson for the endless kind of Dutch angles that were going on. We're gonna blame Dakota Johnson for the terrible dubbing of the villain. We're gonna blame Dakota Johnson for kind of the plot just going haywire. No, we're gonna blame her for performance and say that she was bland and or just kind of unfocused. But she can't bear the blame for everything. So no, it's not her fault. Madame Web was bad regardless. And hey, props to her for getting that line in the trailer that's not even in the movie about her mother dying in the forest with the spider.
Bitten by a spider in the Amazon.
Yes. Bless her for getting through that without laughing throughout the whole thing. So I agree with her. Dakota, I'm on your side. I will blame you though for 50 Shades of Grey. That movie was insipidly boring.
I won't even watch those. Listen, I won't even watch those movies, and I should be interested, but I'm like, I can't.
No.
I'm sorry.
It makes sex boring.
I remember watching the second one, and all I remember about the second one is that there was one scene where it was like they thought the dude's helicopter crashed and that he died, and then like he literally walked into the room like a minute later, like everything was fine. No, it was
like a wrestling match.
It was literally like
Hulk Hogan to a wrestling match.
It was like the television was like, "Oh no, and Gray is fine. It's like he's heading back home right now." And he walks in 2 seconds later, like as the news report is saying, "Oh, by the way, he's okay."
But then again, Dakota Johnson is a legendary actress compared to Jamie Dornan, who cannot act at all.
I will say Jamie Dornan did a good job in Belfast as the father.
No, he did not. He did not.
I thought he did a good job. So, but I can't really speak to him past that. I don't know.
He was he's very pretty though.
Yeah, it seems like you just have a common complaint about guys who are very pretty but can't act. It's this thing with you. It's noticeable.
Yeah, the only other person I hear that from is Bret Easton Ellis, and he is a gay man. So just throwing that out there. Yeah. I mean, again, I can say a guy is attractive or whatever, but you talk about it a lot more than that.
I only object to people who cannot act and who are coasting on their looks.
Henry Cavill is another one.
There's women who do that too, right?
Yeah, I know. I complain about that. I would complain about them too. About them too. I'm equal opportunity.
Anyone who's not Errol Flynn is Rick's nemesis.
Errol Flynn could act.
See?
He was a swordsman. He was a good swordsman.
No, you need to see him in
what's her name? Dakota Fanning?
Too much too soon. He played John Barrymore. He was great in that.
Dakota Jackson reminds me of Gwyneth Paltrow.
Dakota Johnson?
Who's
that her name?
Jackson?
And anybody cares. She's Don Johnson's daughter. He had with Melanie Griffith. Again, nobody probably cares.
No wonder she's an airhead.
Yeah, so.
No wonder she's an airhead.
Don't forget her grandmother.
Okay, by the way, I know a completely illogical statement right now. She's single, I'm single. If we went on a date, I would totally call her on that shit with Tippi Hedren lying about Alfred Hitchcock. It would just be like, why did your grandmother make all that shit up about one of the greatest directors of all time? She'd probably leave. But he's mentioned this a few times, and I'm like, really? Okay, whatever.
As you're spreading butter on bread. What did your grandmother? What did your grandmother such a bitch to Alfred Hitchcock?
Yeah,
you better not do that when you put her in that red room of pain. Okay.
Any final thoughts on Dakota Johnson here before we wrap things up for our closer?
No. Oh, her name's Dakota Johnson. Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, Dakota Jackson is like one of the failed Jackson kids. I'm pretty sure.
Right. Oops.
And on that note, we'll move over to Donald Trump and Elon Musk having a little hissy fit. Last week, these two apparently had a falling out. It was a big one on social media. Elon Musk, I guess, dropped out of the helping President Trump about like a week or two ago. The whole Doge thing is dead. Then Trump said on a press conference that, you know, Musk has been acting a bit erratic, that he just left, and I think at one point literally kicked him out of the White House. Elon did not take it very well, even accused Trump of being on the Epstein list, which is why he won't release it. Went as far to say that we need to impeach Trump and gain J.D. Vance as president, which is very interesting considering what I talked about in the Bible lens. However, the question is now is like, where is this all going to lead to now? Because there's been talks about they had the discussion, but pretty much that relationship is busted. So where does this all lead now? Because it wasn't that long ago people were setting Cybertrucks on fire because they hated Elon Musk. But if Elon Musk does a heel turn and goes back to the left, are they going to all of a sudden like love him now? All of a sudden because he's anti-Trump. So it's very, very interesting to see how this one's going to play out. I'm going to play a little news report here from, I guess this is CBS in Texas. So make of that of you will. I don't know what part of Texas, maybe the shitty one. But here's Texas giving kind of a circle of how this whole thing took place last week.
Well, this morning, more reaction now to the very public war of words between President Donald Trump and his ally, Elon Musk. It started with Musk slamming the president's so-called big, beautiful bill since he left his position with the administration just last week. Then yesterday, things turned personal. The president threatened to kill government contracts associated with Musk companies, while Musk shared a post suggesting that President Trump should be impeached. CBS News' Naomi Ruckham has more from New York.
I'm very disappointed in Elon.
A split between President Donald Trump and Elon Musk exploded on social media. It began days ago with Musk criticizing the president's big budget and border bill on X, calling it a big, ugly bill, arguing that it will add to the deficit, even pushing Republicans to kill the bill.
Elon knew the inner workings of this bill better than almost anybody sitting here.
Musk responded, "False. This bill was never shown to me even once." Soon, the insults grew personal. Musk, who spent more than $200 million on the 2024 race, posted, "Without me, Trump would have lost the election," adding, "Such ingratitude." President Trump threatened to cut billions of dollars in contracts and subsidies to Musk's companies, prompting Musk to threaten to decommission his Dragon spacecraft. Musk later walked it back. Musk also hit further below the belt. Trump is in the Epstein files. That is the real reason they have not been made public. A White House source responded, if Musk truly believed President Trump and Jeffrey Epstein were deeply involved, why did he hang out with him for 6 months?
This divorce was predictable.
The fallout sparked reaction from the Beltway.
It's not helpful.
And beyond.
It's two egos going at it.
The public spat also sent Tesla stock tumbling 14 points yesterday. Naomi Ruckham, CBS News.
Yep, so that's where we're at right now. No indication of any kind of reconciliation anytime soon. So here's kind of where the big point of contention has been, and I'll be very blunt about this. I've been saying for a while now, even as someone who did vote for Trump in the last election, I don't believe that Trump nor Elon is going to be the savior of anything that's about to happen in the near future. I've been very firm on that. And as I've also been very firm on social media and making this very, very clear, I don't particularly trust either one of them at this point, but I think if you put a gun to my head and force me to pick one, I would say that I would trust Elon Musk significantly less at this point. So if he's going to be the odd man out, I would say, yeah, I don't really trust that guy who was in a giant Baphomet costume a couple of years ago right before this whole thing happened. People just upped and forgot about it like it never even happened. So that's kind of where we're at right now. I know some people are like, oh no, we shouldn't be, fanning the flames here because, we're trying to save him. Like, okay, that's great if you guys actually think you're saving the country or whatever the case may be. That's cute that you guys think that. But in the grand scheme of things, it's like, look, I don't think it's I'll look at it from two perspectives. One, is Elon Musk a very self-serving individual? Yes, I don't think that's really a surprise or a shock to say any stretch of the imagination. Does Donald Trump have a history of picking bad people who end up biting him in the ass time and time again, or having falling outs with people who probably should have had a tighter leash on? Yeah, we've seen that time and time again too, so I don't think either one is a surprise. I don't know, maybe at the end of the whole thing, it seems like maybe if Trump had stayed with Steve Bannon, that maybe things would have shaped up a little bit better here. But ever since then, everything's just kind of gone completely off the hinges here. And then now, like I said, it's like I made it very, very clear here. Neither Trump or Musk are the heroes of this story. But you ask me who I trust least, it's that guy. That's
I mean,
the guy I trust least.
Trump and Bannon had their fallout, a while ago, and then kind of reconnected.
I like Bannon, and it's like.
I like Steve Bannon to a point. He gets a little fiery for my like some of the shit he says. Like, yeah, you want, and not that I agree with it, but it's like you wonder why they put you in jail for like however he was in jail for a couple months or something. But this whole thing, it was just like, oh God, are you gonna really do this? Like thinking about Elon Musk and his tweets, and I was watching this in real time. I was at work, not doing my job, but getting paid to do my job. While I was checking this out. But yeah, it was just basically like, okay, so, this is what a jilted teenager does. They don't get their way, and then they throw a hissy fit, especially on the platform they own. You know what I mean? It's like, you have the image, at least I did at the time last week, of Elon Musk being just a massive child and an idiot and no foresight. Just keeps popping those fucking, and I don't even know what it is, meth, Adderall, Ritalin. I don't know what the fuck he takes, but I know he was on ketamine for a while. But it's just like, and look, Donald Trump is certainly not a perfect president. He's certainly not the most polished. But you know what? I'm kind of willing to let his presidency, roll out or see what it does. And if it's going to be the same country in 3.5 years, all right, it's going to be the same country in 3.5 years, while hopefully delaying some stuff that I don't like. But that's it. I don't see Trump as any kind of a savior. Elon Musk is certainly not. He's a self-serving individual. Trump's a self-serving individual. Even the people that like him, I'd be really surprised if you thought he was genuinely a Christian man. You know what I mean? It's like his track record is just too long, too varied, too full of inconsistencies where it's like, okay, look, I accept him in the role that he's in. I voted for him, all this stuff. But it's like, he likes attention. He likes being at the center, the center of focus, center of attention for people. So this blow up could have been predicted. When Elon Musk joined the Trump team, I was like, oh God, here we go. Because I everything that has gone on for the last, 6 to 8 months with him playing the campaign and doing events and all this stuff, it was just like, okay, this is for his own. Now,
there's been a counter narrative in the last few days that Elon Musk is apparently spiraling with like a drug problem. I don't know how true that is. I haven't really followed the whole situation close enough to decipher whether that's just a BS narrative or there's actually something to there or whatnot. Yeah. But it seems like that Elon's been the one that's kind of a little bit more erratic in this whole situation with the way that he responded to the whole thing, because Trump's kind of like initial response wasn't really that bad, but it seems like Elon kind of crashed out on him harder than Trump did the other way around.
But like Christian Toto occasionally will like make fun of a celebrity headline. Mm-hmm. Well, he'll say, huge if true. Like that's what I felt like Elon was Elon posting about, like, oh my gosh, I can't believe it. Like that's the tweet, and it's a retweet of like some, he's going over some statistical anomaly, or he's going over some, hey, we waste this much money per year on this, and it's just like, okay, we get it, we understand what you're trying to do here, but it's so obvious that it's painful. It's painful that you did not put more thought into, hey, people are totally not going to see me as a transparent asshole here. So the whole thing is blown over already. Now I don't know if that's because of LA or whatever, but like nobody gives a fuck. Like we're talking about it because it was kind of this interesting like blow up, but I don't know. Are people still talking about this? Like what happened in the Oval, or excuse me, on Twitter last week? Mm-hmm. I haven't seen it. Everybody's focused on other shit. So I think it's mostly going to, I mean, their relationship is fractured. They might say certain things in public to save face, but yeah, I think
to be fair, when you accuse someone publicly of being a pedophile, that's kind of a line that you can't really come back from. Like if had it just been kind of like up to that, you could have cooler heads could have prevailed. But like I said, once you throw in that Epstein line, it's like, okay, you're pretty much done there. Like
but that was the whole That was the whole thing. It was like you're acting like a jilted teenager. You're acting like somebody who, like you feel so offended and you feel so hurt that you're gonna, I just got you. It's like that's what a 15-year-old does. That's what that's what a kid does, who doesn't think it through, doesn't think of the context or the consequences of it and what it's gonna mean. And look, Elon is the definition of fuck you money. He has more money than literally anybody else in the world. Maybe, I don't know, maybe that's not true, but it's pretty close. And so he could do and say whatever he wants, but it's also like, okay, what was your game plan here? Were you just fucking around with American politics? Now he was talking about creating a new party. It's like, okay, Ross Perot, we've been here before. We've fucking been here before. This guy is such a fucking asshole. And I don't even mean like he's a jerk. No, he's just like so unbelievably self-driven, self-focused to the point where he has no self-awareness. It's incredible. Where he has no ability to know like, oh, this is off-putting to people. He just doesn't understand where that line is. And I'm comparing him to Donald Trump. Think about that for a second.
Yeah, right. Cider, what's your take on this story?
As we know, Elon has a neurodivergent way of thinking. And Elon's understanding of this was that it was going to go a lot more smoothly. I think he had his kind of like hero goggles on, where yes, Trump and I will ride into Washington and these fools in Congress will have no choice but to pass the law without any changes whatsoever. And they would never dare to put any pork inside of it or rewrite even an iota, replace a period. They wouldn't dare. And that's what happened to Elon, is he got up his own ass about it and decided everything was going to work out great. And then when Washington does what it always does, when politics does what it always does, he had a problem. Apparently, that black eye came from like hockey checking the Treasury Secretary.
Oh,
yeah, and the Treasury Secretary let him have it. Gave him a swipe across the face because of it, and that left him with his black eye. And that, what it represents is Elon's inability to control his emotions, is what I'm getting at. And like I said, he had his heart set on this being like Trump and I are going to ride in and save the day. And when politics does what it always does, Elon's also a guy that doesn't like to wait. I sympathize with him on that front. Not too much else in this scenario, but on the front of like, this is so easy. Why are we debating? And that's, it becomes insanely frustrating when you understand that people are actively working against you, not for anyone's interest but their own. And it becomes insanely frustrating. I can understand where he got frustrated having the Treasury Secretary, who, for anybody who's in the libertarian circles, that's like money Hitler, So.
Well, he couldn't do anything. Elon Musk couldn't do anything to the Treasury Secretary because that would be a hate crime.
Well, he did. He body checked him.
Okay. Then it's a hate crime.
I just think it's funny that someone that is supposedly as intelligent and smart as Elon Musk, that he didn't actually study the history of politics or American politics. Where, I mean, you would know this. You would know how
he's South African. He's South African. He's not going to know the American history per se.
The man is a billionaire and he can't educate himself. This is like, I'm sorry, really? You're going to fall behind the fact that he's South American? South African? South American.
Yeah, he could.
Just because you have money doesn't make you smart. I mean,
exactly.
No. He knows.
He is smart because he builds rockets. You know what I mean? Like
No, let me explain. You can get into your own head with this stuff, like especially in politics, because you get gassed up by about 5, 10, 15 people, and you start thinking you're Genghis Khan, and you're going to ride down from the mountaintop and do the Reconquista of Washington, D.C. with all you and your friends. You're the main characters. It's all level 100s going into this. Leroy Jenkins your way right into the Capitol building, if you like. It's one of those things where you're going to end up running into reality very quickly, and Elon did not anticipate this. He's not used to having people obstruct him outside of government and assume because he had millions of people outside of the government's approval, he could go in and just do this. It's so obvious, guys. Why don't we just pass the thing today? And it gets very frustrating when someone comes in from the Treasury and says, hi, I actually run things. And no, that's not going to happen. We're going to turn on the U.S. aid money immediately because I want it that way.
And to Rob's point, I mean, Elon had watched Mr. Smith Goes to Washington,
Right.
he would have known that you're not supposed to throw fisticuffs at everybody that you come across in Congress. So,
Again, he's got that neurodivergent way of thinking, and emotion runs very tightly. And
It
kind of gets
that does explain the Nazi salute that Elon Musk gave.
The way that you described like Elon at the beginning there, Cider, was actually perfect because it was the perfect description of how immigrants see the United States. Going back to all that, it's we think that you come here, you could just change things, and the whole country's for each other and everything
I don't
else.
think that's the way. No, I disagree with you. I'll just say that not having invested anything in either of these two people, I'm probably the only person on this panel who did not vote for the Donald. I will say that it's a clash of egos, and one of them is a president, and one of them is not ever going to be president.
Right.
So
I will say that Elon calling the president a pedophile indirectly did allow what's her name, the Congressman Luna or whatever, to actually put his Doge complaints on the docket to be looked at. So I guess that's something that you can claim to. I don't know if recreating Stan's letters from Eminem songs is going to be a good idea.
I just think that the way this is looking to me as a total outsider is that people just cannot reason they can't have any sense of logic when it comes to how they look at policy. You people who were a few weeks ago burning Teslas and demanding that he be deported are now like, oh, he's against Trump. Okay, now I'm going to go buy my Tesla again. I mean, your emotions should not rule your thinking. And this goes to Elon Musk. This goes to the Donald. Just have a set core of beliefs and pursue them. If you think that that government should tax so much and provide services, pursue that. If you think that government should have a little role in your life and tax very low, pursue that. But don't just change because, Elon Musk was supporting Trump, so now I'm going to get rid of my Tesla. Now they had a falling out. Oh, Elon Musk is now good again because he's building rockets and he's going to colonize the moon or something. All I can say is just everyone here, for Musk, for Trump, for everyone, just grow up. All right.
It's turned into a game of Schadenfreude. Just enjoying pain and displeasure, and that's all it is anymore. It's like, and it doesn't matter what your values. People don't have values. They're just reacting to things, and it's just based on their preconceived notions of what is happening. It's not even like, oh, hey, let me get all the information about what happened of the video I'm seeing. Let me get additional context. Let me get additional information. It's no, how can I use this to beat the people I don't like, who I've created an image of in my mind?
Exactly.
That's where Elon is with this, is that he's fully aware that politics sucks. It takes forever. It destroys everything. But he got this hero idea in his head that it was all going to be different this time somehow. And that ends up plaguing a lot of people. And that's what happened to him. And when his heart was broken, this is what happened. This is why Trump was like, he started acting crazy. I don't understand, because Trump didn't put it together. He didn't realize that Elon was over here like glazing their efforts in his mind. That this was all just going to go through very smoothly and everyone was going to accept their supreme logic. They were the first ones to ever suggest auditing the government. No one had ever thought of that before. And
we're going to fix the FBI, guys. It's
with one hand. We're going to expose the pedophile ring that has murdered and controlled the entire world for as long as we've been alive, guys. In 1 week, in 100 days. It annoys me that they came out and turned away from that whole thing. But I have to ask.
This is why everyone's, just real quick, I'll let you ask a question. This is why everyone's so upset of, the FBI director, because, he's not exposing the Epstein list. He's not exposing the Epstein list. It's like, yeah, because he knows he would die if he ever did expose that list. You guys don't understand. It's like, that's how you essentially get your car to explode very early in the morning, when you actually try to expose the real players behind what's going on behind closed doors.
Well, and this is what I have to ask in this Trump-Elon situation. A lot of people stand to benefit from what's happening in Los Angeles. We noticed that these demonstrations are not happening in the neighborhoods where ICE is conducting their stuff. These are happening right out in the middle of the street. They're happening in high traffic and high commerce areas as well. Storefronts that are privately owned are being struck down, and storefronts that are corporate owned are being struck down as well. And so you have to ask yourself, in this whole like taking advantage of the chaos, why did that explode just before Los Angeles did? It's a very bizarre time frame to have this happen. Cash Patel Cash Patel talk about the Epstein thing. Then Elon and Trump get into this dust up about it. It starts burbling up and on. All of a sudden, Los Angeles is thrown into fucking chaos, guys. Oh God! And the whole, like you said, Rob, the whole conversation has just evaporated around those guys because here's L.A. And now you have to ask yourself, like, man, do you wonder those Epstein folks that are just so powerful? Do you think they maybe orchestrated some of this and are supplying some of the concrete and peace bricks of peace that are being tossed at the police?
I think it's all a conspiracy to clear out a lot of land and property for the upcoming Olympics and World Cup.
Get me
we
some
have the
space.
Olympics in 2028, right?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's a big advertisement for flag football. It's just have the show our entire city burning to the ground.
Yeah, you guys don't even have to riot. We already did it for you. That's the comfort of Los Angeles. We'll riot for you.
And they'll riot when Mexico wins an Olympic gold medal somewhere there.
Well, at this point, we're not sure if Mexico's going to be allowed to compete with the way their president's acting. So,
see, that's another thing. The president wants to claim that like Mexico is now California and Arizona and everything. Then let them claim it. It's going to be great. That way, Trump can actually cause a war that everybody wants to not pay for.
Yeah,
and we can go and storm. We can go storm ourselves all the way down to Panama Canal.
I'm not worried because I live right next to Fort Bliss, so go ahead and attack there, President Scheinbaum. Go ahead and attack Fort Bliss. See how well that goes for you.
Also, Paleo Technology is the one that's been going viral lately. Up $132. So if you want to start trading into that pretty soon, we might cause since there's more riots going across the country and everything. So
this is gonna be. Hey, look. Maybe if you're like someone who invests in like rebuilding property or like parts or tools, something like that, you'll make a lot of money in Los Angeles in the next few days.
No, you won't because
by the dip.
After the fires, they've built 12 houses. So. Construction's not top priority.
Buy the dip.
When it comes to Los Angeles, buy the dip.
Well, any final thoughts here? Any final thoughts here before we get out of here?
They're two raging egomaniacs. Of course, it's not going to turn out well.
Well, that's it here for the show then. Thank you very much for joining us here. I guess we'll give you guys a chance to sign on and, sign off, I should say, and let people know what you got coming up. I guess we'll go with the person who doesn't have anything to promote first.
I have something to promote this time. I'm over on Kick. Everyone find me on Kick. Cool. And I'm like, what am I doing? I'm like watching movies and playing video games and just talking. Which is really strange because usually when you talk to yourself, everyone thinks you're crazy. But in this new age of the internet, when you talk to yourself in front of a camera, apparently people watch you. So I'm trying to get used to that idea without thinking I'm crazy. So if you want to catch me on Kick, I don't want to put the name down there, but you know where to find me on Twitter. You can find me on Kick there too. Catch you guys.
So do you want us to promote your Kick?
I'll promote it next time.
I have the link. I can just do it now.
I'm shy. Okay. I'm still getting used to this.
Fine, fuck you too. Anyway, Rick, how's it going?
Oh well, it's going pretty well. I'll be looking for a new safe house in a couple of hours. To always stay away from ice, unless it's the ice cream man. I'll follow that guy around. Anyway,
Clint
I've got, huh?
Clint Howard. Man, the horror movie. Never mind. Just keep going.
No. Anyway, so what I've got coming up are just more reviews. I don't know if I'll actually go and watch a movie. I know there's The Materialist, but there's also the Life of Chuck, and I don't know. I might go see Showgirls. for apparently they're having a special Pride showing for showgirls, so that should be fun. And yeah, just more reviews and finding more safe houses before I eventually head on up to Maine, where I'll be hiding in Cider's attic for the next 3 or 4 years.
Well, now there's nowhere to find you. You ruined it.
Oh, well, I mean, Maine's such a
Don't
large
invite
state.
this guy to the Underground Railroad, all right? You tell him where it is.
Well, I mean, they're not gonna find me in all those trees up there.
It's true.
They'll find you through the Wi-Fi. That's what they had before.
In the trees.
In the trees.
It's 5G trees.
Just move to Austin. You'll blend in with everybody else. Raw.
Okay, here we are at the end of another show. Hi, everybody. I'm making good life changes. So
Ooh.
that means I'm going to be more active on, posting movie reviews and doing stuff on my YouTube channel, which apparently occasionally people like to make fun of me. my YouTube channel that I upload once every 3 months to. You know what? You got me, guys. You got me. I don't use my YouTube channel that I promote on my Twitter account. Anyway, just check out my Twitter. I just bitch about movies. I watched like 18 of them last week. So, that's usually what I'm doing, talking about movies. And then, yeah, just, you can always find me over there. And I'll see you next week.
All right. Cider.
Bounding into Comics. Check it out. Saturday, we do the Untitled Nostalgia Show. I can't even remember the name of it because it's so cool. But yeah, no, it is. We had a lot of fun going back to Horton Plaza. I had no idea such a place existed, and I had no idea Lenny Kravitz was actually real. I thought Family Guy made him up. So you learn a lot.
We also learned a lot about Doritos 3D and how that was actually a thing.
I love Doritos 3D. I don't care. It's a gimmick.
No, it's fine. It's I just question the logic of bouncing your food off of fire hydrants in the city.
Oh yeah, I love
Fire
those.
hydrants there. But anyway, if you're not tricking your Doritos 3D on Saturday at 3:30 p.m., feel free to stop by Bounding Into Comics, where we'll be reviewing more of the late 90s and early 2000s. Try not to die.
Yeah, just try not to die. I'm working on trying to see if there's a video that we can watch on for this Saturday. I got to work through the kinks to figure out what's allowed and what's not. So I'll get you updated there, but it's something in progress. So now I'm just trying to see how long I can get you to hold this pose.
Cut already, goddammit.
After you break it. Well, anyway, guys, so we got other shows coming up. We have the Saturday show that's coming up, around 3 p.m.
My eyes are so dry, damn it!
There we go. It's just like, we got him. We got the Nostalgia Show coming up on Saturday. Sunday, we got the Bible Lens. We're going to be talking about the folly of fruit inspectors on Sunday's show. Monday, we got more Zero Run coming up. And then, like I said, I got a whole bunch of movie reviews to catch up on. So hopefully this will be a good weekend to catch up on those films. I mean, I still have to watch The Accountant 2, which I'll get to this weekend. Another favor, there's that Viola Davis Meemaw action movie that I haven't seen yet.
Oh, that's right.
I need
G20
to
or whatever.
G20.
Yeah, but that's the movie, and there's a couple other ones that I need to see too. So yeah, I'll catch up to those eventually. Just don't ask me to do it in a timely manner. And then that's all I got coming up there. So until then, thank you all for you guys for joining us here for tonight's episode. Thank you very much. I hope to see you guys soon. Some of you guys would be well received to stay after the show because I got a little surprise for you once we're off the air. So that's going to be super special fun. Until then, adios, goodbye, and good night. Thanks, chat.
Okay. Oh.
Making your way through the daily grind takes everything you've got. Taking a break from all your worries sure would help a lot. Wouldn't you like to tune away? All those nights when you're feeling low, the rent is overdue, and your coffee maker's broken, your luck just seems to skew, and your boss is always on your case. Sometimes you wanna go where everybody knows your name, and they're always glad you came. Wanna be where you can see our troubles are all the same. You wanna be where everybody knows knows your name. Roll out of bed and you feel the dread. The morning's looking bleak. The morning's looking and your internet is down again. You haven't slept all week and your car just broke down on the way. Be glad there's a place online where you can feel at ease. In the Barroom Podcast, friends, we share our thoughts and teas. Every story shared, every laugh so free. Sometimes you wanna go where everybody knows your name and they're always glad you came. Wanna be where you can see our troubles are all the same. You wanna be where everybody knows your name. So here's to the moments we all hold dear. In this barroom of the airwaves with friends so near. Every story shared, every heartfelt cheer. It's more than just a podcast, it's where we steer.
I still don't feel like I know how to shoot these things.